let me just say, 2021, to start it off, sure love to throw a fucking curveball my way. Did it now? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the wrap-up of the game dimension, the stream dimension, whatever content that you may find me on. Welcome to the wrap-up of 2021 for just Benson Creation in general. Benson Creation, that sounds like a good production name, honestly. But welcome, everyone, to it, whether you're watching it after New Year's when I finally get this up on YouTube or watching it now live on Twitch. Welcome, welcome. I hope you guys have been having a wonderful holidays. I hope you enjoyed the Christmas special and everything going on. We're going to do things a little differently. For those of you on YouTube that are watching it right now, you may be noticing some words popping up in the bottom corner. That is my chat box. I decided to make my life a bit easier and minimize the workload since I'm technically on vacation for 2 weeks from content, that I figured I'd live stream this, so that way I can combine both communities. So my Twitch community is watching this live, and for those of you on YouTube watching it after the video comes up, you're watching it the VOD of the Twitch stream, so I hope you guys enjoy. Again, it's gonna be like last year. There's no script, there's no nothing, so you guys can absolutely see how absolutely fucking awkward I am. So it's gonna be fun. We're gonna do it just like last year. Just like last year, it's gonna be basically, we're gonna go over everything for the content with Game Dimension and also streaming now, which we'll get into soon enough. Hi in YouTube comments. Yes, my mods say hi, by the way. My entire YouTube community. Hi, this is my Twitch community. Twitch, meet YouTube. But, we're going to go over everything that happened in 2021. I'm hoping the stream won't crash. If you see me... I know how awkward all too well, exactly. YouTube community, but we're going to basically... You're going to see a whole awkward side of me, unedited for the most part, but... Also, we're going to go over everything. I hope the stream doesn't crash, and also, if at any point you see my face slow-mo or stop, that's probably the bitrate for Twitch fucking up, because it's not a truly YouTube content video or true Twitch stream about something fucking up, you know? So, if you see me slow down, or you see a really weird cut mid-sentence, that's probably because my stream crashed or whatever, you know? But without further ado, we're just going to go over everything for 2021 with both streaming and YouTube. Afterwards, we're going to go over the future, which essentially means I'm just going to go over what lies in store for 2022 for everything for YouTube and Twitch. And then afterwards, we're going to talk about my Game of the Year and the nominations and all that. And then we're going to answer all of your questions that you asked me on Twitter, my Discord server, or, just in the video comments of the Christmas special. So without further ado... You love it, really? Oh, he does. But without further ado, let's get right into it 2021. It was a really interesting year. Mostly bad, but generally speaking, pretty good too. And we'll go over that as we go along. So why don't we start off with the first review that happened, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Now, those of you that remember last year, I was planning to do that around November after the Tony Hawk review, and also I wanted to do a Christmas special, so I thought Crash Bandicoot would be a nice little review, and then do a quick Christmas special afterwards, something nice. Unfortunately, around this time, I got COVID. I ended up quarantining most of December into the end of, the year. I got out around New Year's Eve, if I remember correctly, but it was not fun. COVID, thankfully, none of us had to get hospitalized, but all 6 of us that had to quarantine had different symptoms. Me and my sister probably had it the worst. I was not okay for 3 days, and then afterward, I slept all day. I had aches, I had chills, I had a huge fever. It was not fucking fun, and it fucked up my sleep schedule, and it fucked up so much. Even my eating habits. I barely ate for the first 3 days. So, unfortunately, it fucked up my eating habits again, which I started to finally get back on track, and which I'm still feeling the repercussions of, unfortunately, even today. So, it's been tough, to say the least, and unfortunately, I did have to postpone the Crash Bandicoot 4 review. But it finally came out. I was hoping to have it out in January. That didn't happen, but I finally had it out in February. And it was a very long process. Again, I had to wait because of quarantines, because of my parents and my younger sibling Fuse, who got it right after we did. So quarantining got in the way for a little bit. And even too, just recording was a bit rough in regards to storage, in regards to just a general vibe. But Crash Bandicoot 4, the review itself, it was a awesome review. I had so much fun making it. There were so many little things, I had the ice physics joke in there, where I was like, ice physics, yeah. There were so many little fun things that I did in that review that kind of make it a top tier review for me. I won't say it's my favorite, which we'll get to soon enough, but Crash Bandicoot 4, I would be lying if I said that despite everything with COVID and despite everything with the process itself and coming back from such a long period of time of just, not feeling well and trying to force myself to rest, it came out pretty amazingly. And a lot of you seem to echo that sentiment, because that video ends up becoming one of my most watched videos. It's not the most watched. Battle for Bikini Bottom, the first video I ever did, still reigns supreme, but Crash Bandicoot 4 and Paper Mario both ended up skyrocketing this year. Like, Crash Bandicoot and Paper Mario have now become some of my top 3 most watched videos, and they're catching up still to Battle for Bikini Bottom. Where Battle for Bikini Bottom stagnated, it feels like Crash Bandicoot is now all of a sudden the number 2 most watched video, and it's at 604 views last I checked. I think Battle for Bikini was my favorite game to mention until... Oh yeah, of course. But it's insane to think that, you know, Battle for Bikini Bottom, the most watched video ever, is now becoming the number 2 and number 3 most watched videos. Paper Mario and Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot is also the video I found out with the only dislikes, 2 dislikes, which I don't care about. I don't care about any of that at all. But I just found it weird. I literally, like, out of all these videos, Crash Bandicoot's the only one with the dislikes, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? But I wish that the people that disliked it, they're probably bots, as I've come to find, unfortunately, but I wish the people that disliked it told me what they didn't like, because so that way I could fix it, because you guys know me, I'm always looking to improve the game dimension and all this other shit, so I wish they told me. But at the end of the day, Crash Bandicoot was an amazing return. So many of you guys showed up for the premiere. It became one of my a lot of people dislike every video. Yeah, but that was exactly. So, unfortunately, it's just like, you know, it is what it is. I don't care about dislikes. I'm just looking to improve. I don't take it personally. I just love to improve content. So, at the end of the day, if it makes me a better creator, then I would love to hear feedback. And even then, it is what it is. I don't care. Like, not everyone's gonna like the same thing. So, at the same time, it's just is what it is. Again, I don't take it personally. I actually do love the fact that dislikes and likes are a thing, just because it gets me out there more. So, again, this Crash Bandicoot was one of the best comebacks I feel like I could have had. It was an amazing return to content creation after such a really bad time of struggling physically and a little bit mentally. It's definitely not, mentally speaking, it wasn't on the same level of struggling. There goes an ambulance. It wasn't speaking on like the same level as Paper Mario, the Origami King, but it definitely was a hard time, and it was a great return. And then right afterwards led into the wackiest video I've ever made, the Cat in the Hat for PS2 review. That one I did not expect to be as big of a hit as it was. It was a throwaway game that literally I was like, I need something for March. Crash Bandicoot fucked up and COVID fucked up my plans. What can I do for March? And then I realized that Seuss month, because Dr. Seuss's birthday and everything, whatever, yada yada yada, that was in March. So I was just like, hey, let's review a game that's based on the Dr. Seuss stuff. So I thought of Cat in the Hat based on the Mike Myers movie. So I wanted to review that, and we literally got a Cat in the Hat suit, as many of you know, it was just a throwaway joke. Cat in the Hat was literally a throwaway video. I did not expect it to get as much of a successful run as it did. Even now, it's still catching up. It is now becoming one of the, like, when it comes to Cat in the Hat, it's now becoming a top video too. I think it's almost at, like, it's at 500 views, I believe, as well right now. 500, 400. It wasn't, like, doing well from the start. Obviously, no one's gonna come watch a game about the Cat in the Hat. But so many views have been skyrocketing for it now too. And, like, it's such a meme-y type of video in regards to humor. Like, I feel like every video I do, there's a bit of, obviously you get my humor in it. Cat in the Hat was, like, my prime humor, I feel like. You had the Cat in the Hat suit, you had me in the interactions, like that opening sequence where I did like the noir style montage and then led into like the horror sequence. That was probably one of my favorite opening segments to actually film, just because of how goofy and out of the world it was. And it was just fun, you know? It was nice to have a wacky character on, and it was sort of a test challenge of what can I do with a wacky character on screen and not just an opening segment like Radical Benson on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. What can I do with wacky characters? How can I challenge myself to interact with people in the room, which we'll get into soon enough with other videos later on. And it was a hit. Cat in the Hat was amazing. It was just a lot of fun. This was actually one of the smoother productions, I feel like. The suit was insane. It's very creepy. I have it in my studio still in a box, but I did not expect this one-off ridiculous video on a ridiculous game that I didn't even end up liking, you know, to be such a big hit. It was insane to think that the Cat in the Hat, following the success of Crash Bandicoot, came out like a 1-2 combo. Like, Crash Bandicoot was the prime game dimension thing you know and love, great reviews, all-around humor, but all-around a grand old time. Crash Bandicoot was the first punch. The second punch was the humor of Cat in the Hat, which was fucking insane. Again, thank you guys so much for that return. But, again, that was probably one of the more memey videos, and a lot of you seem to echo that. So, like, there's a spit take, there's the belt segment with the cat just going with the belt, you know? There's the cat himself, which has somehow become a mainstay on this channel. I don't know how. He was literally just a throwaway gag, but he's now become a mainstay humor on the channel at this point. But it was a fun video to make, and was easily one of the more successful in regards to the process itself, like the easiest process. And then following that, the Cat in the Hat review, I actually ended up doing a interesting thing. I ended up reviewing a game called Mail Mole. It was a very small indie game that I'm sure many of you still haven't heard of around this. Oh wait, before I get to Mail Mole, actually, we're forgetting the most important part of the Cat in the Hat. Around this time, during the production of Cat in the Hat, I started streaming. Originally the plan for it was I wasn't going to start streaming until the summer when I was going to be on a quote-unquote break from YouTube, but a lot of people, including Show, someone I don't talk to anymore, which we'll get to soon enough, a lot of people ended up pushing the idea of you should totally stream. Like, do it now. Like, you will love streaming, believe me. And this is when I first started getting into Twitch, because before I didn't really care for Twitch, but, you know, being around with friends and just watching their streams, it was a phenomenal time. So I was like, okay, I'll start streaming, you know? And it was probably the best decision I ever made. I started streaming around the time of the production of Cat in the Hat. We did some one-off streams. We did some fun streams, like just chatting, played a little Rehydrated, Untitled Goose Game, and all that shit. It was a fun time, and it was the most successful first month of streaming I could have ever asked for, and quite successful to the point that I ended up getting affiliate in the first week. Literally, it took 8 days for me to hit affiliate. 50 followers in 8 days, reached the achievements for the hours and all that shit, and here we are now. Here we are now with 235 followers on Twitch last I checked. So many of you guys following and just enjoying this content. It was a phenomenal first month of streaming. It was just, again, I couldn't have asked for a better return. Literally, the Game Dimension's first month and streaming's first month, their success is almost like parallel, it feels like. Like, first month, I never expected to get anywhere with both streaming and content on YouTube, and all of a sudden, here we are now with some success that I could have never, ever imagined or asked for. Like, thank you guys so much for 50 followers in 8 days. That was a dream come true, and streaming has become so successful to what it is now, and I couldn't have done any of this without any of you guys. Thank you so much for making the Cat in the Hat and the streaming so successful like they are today. And, of course, you know, streaming, nothing big happens in streaming until May, but, you know, I'm doing my streaming thing on the side. But the next review that I ended up doing was Mail Mole, which is a small indie game I'm sure many of you haven't heard of yet, or still haven't heard of, which is totally fine. Also, hi, Mito. I'm sorry, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not paying too much attention to chat because this VOD's going on YouTube, and I want to make my life easier with editing, but thank you so much, Mito. I appreciate the praise. But, Mail Mole was a good one. I ended up really loving that game. It's obviously not like a top 5 game for me, but it's a fun platformer to distract you, and they're still coming out with free content as it is, free levels, new modes, that I'm still coming back to even to this day. Like, they just came out with Christmas-themed levels that I want to go back and play, and the developers actually followed me on Twitter for some reason, which is insane to think about. I don't know if they've watched the review or not, but the fact that they started watching, like, or following me on Twitter, I was just like, oh, holy shit. And video game developers follow me on Twitter. They've noticed me. They've interacted with me a little bit. I was like, what do I do? What do I do? But, you know, that's just me being stupid and anxious, you know, because I don't know how I feel with anyone following me. So, Mail Mole itself, that review, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit underperforming compared to other reviews. Like, obviously, it's just now finally reaching 300 views. Again, I'm not a statistics person, so I couldn't care about it, but I kind of expected it to get the, notice that it did, because unfortunately it still is a very small indie game. It was a video that I personally wanted to do rather than just be like, oh, it's happening now, so let's take advantage of it. Like, obviously every game I review is one that I'm enjoying and I personally want to do, but also too, if it lines up with like popularity, for example, Crash Bandicoot 4, then that's a double bonus for me. That's another win in my opinion. But Mail Mole was, personally speaking, a game that was like purely for me just interested. Like, obviously no one's ever heard of this game, and I want to get the name out there. Obviously when it comes to like content, artists, whatever, I want to get people's names out there. that I feel like are underrated and deserve the love. Male Mole included. I feel like it deserves a lot more love as a simple and fun platformer. And unfortunately, again, just because it's so unheard of outside of, like, if you don't watch Wholesome Games, which is a direct, you probably haven't heard of it, and still haven't heard of it. It's very cheap, too, which is, like, I think it was $15 last I checked. Yeah, $15 last I checked. So, unfortunately, it's not that known. It still isn't. So I expected the video to underperform as it did, unfortunately. And, which is fine. It was definitely fine, and I'm glad it's getting its notice now, and I hope people enjoy Malmo if they actually end up, you know, finding the video and wanting to watch it. But it was a fun game, fun time to review. The process itself, though, was a pain in the fucking ass. As many of you know, we got a drone. In the beginning sequence, I had that plush mole ride in on the drone. Originally, what we were supposed to do is that the drone was supposed to fly the mole in from, like, the sky, and I was supposed to go out and watch it fly down from the sky, and it was gonna be an epic sequence where I had it fucking, you know, to the, I don't know how many of you know the Apocalypse, like, Ride of the Valkyries from Apocalypse Now. I was gonna have it come into that music, and that would have been absolutely fucking hysterical. I mean, the opening sequence was still pretty funny, but actually filming the video, especially that opening sequence, and getting the drone to work was a bitch. Because the drone itself, we got a cheaper drone, honestly. I didn't want to spend too much money on it. It was not fun to use. Like, literally, getting that mole to stay to the drone and controlling the drone itself in the air was a pain in the fucking ass. Actually turning on the drone wasn't working most of the time. I eventually threw my hands up frustrated and said, fuck it, we're gonna have it right in, and all that shit, which is what it did. And even controlling it during the filming, like that opening sequence, you could probably see us fuck around a few times, because even controlling the drone was backwards and stupid. So legitimately, it was not fun. The opening sequence, like trying to get that drone to work, was a pain in the ass. This was probably the worst process I think I've had in any sort of review for the Game Dimension. Flying was kind of fun. I wish we got it to fucking work more though, but it's just actually getting the drone to work hindered the experience and hindered the fun so much. Otherwise, it was a pretty smooth and quick review. But again, it performed as I expected. I had a lot of fun with it still, other than the opening sequence. And even then, I don't care about the views. I just enjoy getting games out there that people don't know if I can. And I just love reviewing what I love. So the fact that I got to do this was just purely fun. And it led into probably a big time push for my 1-year anniversary. Because the ending sequence, it finally started the push to start making lore for the Game Dimension, which, as you could tell by the ending sequence with the trees where I say it is time, that leads into the 1-year anniversary special, which we will get to soon enough. But yeah, it was pretty fun, you know, all things considered, and we'll get to the 1-year anniversary special. But first, let's get back to streaming for a second, because in May, I may or may not definitely care about views. It's all good, Shroop. People do. I don't. You know, I don't care about the statistics, you know? Hence why I don't pump out half-ass content such as, fucking, you know, oh, clickbait titles, which is why I don't do that, you know? Come on now. I'd rather be genuine and do what I love than push bullshit that I don't care about. But
did what? Not clickbait?
Get out, Fuse! Get out! Fuck! But what was I saying? Okay, so back to the streaming really quick before we get to the 1-year anniversary. Thank you, Reaper, for the host. Back to the 1-year anniversary, though. No, not to that. That fucked me up completely. That threw my train of thought. I'm tired. But back to May really quick and streaming. I ended up pushing for something that I didn't think I was actually going to do. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And mental health, someone that goes through mental health personally all the time, and knows several people that goes through it, and knows how tough mental health can be to sort of put out there and get yourself out there. I wanted to do something special. And I have never done anything to charity before. I only had, I think, 75 followers to this point. So basically speaking, doing a charity stream at 75 followers, only 3 months into streaming, was a risky business. Because I could either have it hit off really well or really poorly. As much as I wanted to, like, do a charity stream, and I was overly ambitious, I'm not gonna lie. Doing a charity stream 3 months into streaming is an overly ambitious thing. I was just starting streaming. I was still figuring out the kinks with technology and everything in regards to streaming. It was a really risky move on my part. But again, just like with the Game Dimension and all things streaming, you guys showed up big time. we raised over $1,300 for mental health awareness in one stream. In a 8-hour stream combined, we raised $1,300. Of course, I pledged $300 to match what you guys raised. Actually, no, $400. $400 I pledged to my own charity because I matched it. And you guys raised over $400. And then, of course, someone else that was a part of it pledged $400 as well. We raised $1,300 for Mental Health Awareness Month. And, like, I think 16 of you showed up at once, which is what normally I'm getting now for, like, views at a time, which is fucking insane. I put the word out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and all that shit. I didn't expect it to get the success that it did. We basically streamed for 8 hours straight, playing Pokemon Snap, doing a Smash tournament, and Spiritfarer at the end. I did not expect it to get as successful as it did, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I may or may not have teared up a little bit after seeing the final result. This was probably one of my proudest moments of 2021, is basically coming together with a very small community, combining communities, teamworking it up, and we fucking did it. We raised so much money for charity, for mental health awareness, and again, for any of you that showed up, I just want to say thank you guys so fucking much. You made it successful. You make this successful. You make the game dimension successful. You absolutely blew my mind. You guys did so much. Obviously, there was, like, some kinks. Like, for example, the fact that Fuse forgot I was streaming and started uploading a video mid-stream during the Smash tournament. So basically, it started chugging like a stop-motion film for about an hour. The fact that happened, and then all of a sudden I had to abruptly end it because my laptop CPU was, like, absolutely burning at that point, so I had to abruptly end it. Those were shitty moments. But at the end of the day, all around, that charity stream was so successful, and I'm so proud of the work that we all put in. Damn it, Fuse. Yeah, damn it, Fuse indeed. I heard you in the kitchen. Damn you, Fuse. Damn you, Fuse indeed. I hope you know that. They're in the kitchen right now. Here they come, though.
I'm eating a Baby Bell.
Thank you. You can leave now. You can leave now. But at the end of the day, again, I don't know what to say. Thank you guys so much for making my first ever charity stream a success. Again, $1,300 may not seem like a lot to some people, but it means the world to me, especially as a big mental health advocate. I'm so proud of the work that we all put in, and I'm so proud of everything that we managed to do in 8 hours. Not 24 hours, not 12 hours, not for an entire week's worth of streams. In 8 hours, we raised over $1,300. That is fucking amazing. And again, I'm so proud of us, and I'm so excited to do this again, which we'll get into way later on. Thank you guys so much for showing up and being a part of this big charity event that I honestly was riding by the seat of my ass on. I was bullshitting it every step of the way. Literally during Pokemon Snap, I woke up earlier in that day and I wasn't feeling well. I basically did this while I was feeling like shit. Like during Pokemon Snap when I had to go to the bathroom, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get some water, I'll be right back. I sat on the bathroom floor, my head pounding and feeling like I was gonna throw up for 5 minutes because I was just like, I cannot cancel this stream. I cannot do this. I need to push forward with this. So I sat on that bathroom floor for 5 minutes, taking deep breaths, and then coming back. Obviously, I don't encourage anyone to push themselves past that limit, but I couldn't let you guys down. This is my first charity event, and I wasn't gonna let it already start off with a whimper. And I felt like shit throughout the entire stream anyways, but those 5 minutes, I was like, this is it. This was a moment for me and a revelation too, mind you. Literally, I sat there for 5 minutes and I'm like, this is what I want to do in my life. I don't care if it's Twitch, YouTube, Hollywood, Bollywood even, whatever. I want to go out there and do my best and all this other shit. I want to go out there and make something that I'm proud of and that people can look back on and be proud of, no matter what content it is. I sat on that bathroom floor. I had that revelation of, if it wasn't clear before, this is something that I wanted to do. I legitimately sat there and I was like, let's fucking do this. And we came out and we did a big charity stream. So again, thank you guys so much for showing up. I'm going to take a drink really quick because I feel like people are going to start yelling at me soon. But thank you guys so much, truly. You made this first charity stream so successful. I couldn't have done this without any of you. I'm so proud of what we did. Thank you guys so much for showing up. And of course, afterwards, I of course turned off all streaming for a while because, you know, I wanted to take a vacation from streaming up until August. But of course, next up was June. And while I didn't stream in June, we had one more big thing before I went on a month-long vacation. One more big grand finale, and that was the 1-year anniversary special of the Game Dimension that we premiered on June 30th, literally before June ended. I wanted to get it out on the 1-year anniversary of my first ever video with SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom on June 23rd, but that wasn't going to happen. The production was through the roof. This was insane. I reviewed the movie game for SpongeBob SquarePants. I ended up not liking it as much as I did. I still love it, but at the end of the day, too, you also have to separate nostalgia from actual criticism, which is sort of like the main theme of this 1-year anniversary. Is like, going forward, it was just, what do I do? I want to be a game reviewer, but at the same time, I know there are games that from my childhood I'm afraid to go back on and not like as much. Every reviewer does this, and the theme of it essentially was what I always stand by now. You can have nostalgic love for something, but there comes a time where you need to realize that, objectively speaking, it's not as great as you remember. And of course, I mention it at the end of my video. I'm gonna come back to it as much as I want to, no matter what, but that doesn't make it the best thing ever, unfortunately. And I will love it no matter what. But objectively speaking, it's very flawed, all things considered. And that's sort of a theme that I struggled a lot with throughout, not just reviewing, but before. And I feel like that's also not just applicable to games, but life, you know? You may not be sure of things, and things may not seem like they are. Excuse me, let me fix that. So basically with this, I applied it to games, but I feel like you could apply this theme to life in general, you know? Things may not be the same as they were when you were a kid, but that doesn't always mean it's the best or the worst. Shit happens. That's just life in general. Even though you grow up and things in your life may change, those memories are still there. That still made you who you are today, and you should still be proud of it, even though objectively speaking, it's not as great as you remember it. I feel like that's applicable to life in general, but the Game Dimension itself, I feel like, was a great tunnel to do that and make that theme. And the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game was the perfect game to encapsulate that. And while this was hell to film, this is probably one of my favorite videos of all time that I've ever made. There was so many different references to communities I made on Twitch, and the people I met on the Game Dimension, and to my own content poking fun at myself, and of course Radical Benson made a cameo for 5 seconds, which sent chat into a frenzy, but this was one of my favorite videos to film. Even though getting the fucking field that I used during my epiphany with the hooded figure, even though getting that field to work was a pain in the fucking ass, especially because towards the end when we were filming in the field, a kid's soccer game out of nowhere decided to show up, which you can hear if you listen closely to audio. We pushed forward with that, but everything else, the filming, even doing like the field stuff, even though it was a pain in the ass to do, it was magical. You know, this was basically the closest I've ever been to making a feature-length film. Paper Mario the Origami King, yeah, that's my longest review by 30 seconds or something, but it didn't feel like a feature-length film with lore and humor and references like I would want to do. The 1-year anniversary is the closest, so far at least, that I have ever been to making a feature-length film. You know, there is the hooded figure. There is the fact that, you know, I made references to my own community. There is the theme at the end, the big moral story and everything. There is the whole epic sequence of, like, the monologue at the end with, like, emotional sequences. I really did enjoy filming this, and this is one of my favorite things of all time to have made. I legitimately sat at my laptop for 12 hours straight editing this shit, because I was so excited with how this was going to come out. And it was a hit. Immediate hit. Even now, it's not like the same level of like views as Battle for Bikini Bottom and Crash Bandicoot, but it's getting there. It is very slowly getting there. There will be times where there's a spurt of views out of nowhere for this, and it ended up becoming one of my most liked videos of all time. 32 likes compared to Paper Mario the Origami Kings, which was 23. In the first month of its release, you guys absolutely blew its popularity out of the water, and I honestly think this is one of my favorite videos to ever make. Even making the thumbnail sort of like a movie poster of like me with the pose and like the Cat in the Hat and Radical Benson and the hooded figure, it was magical. Making the lore for the Game Dimension finally start to show, basically putting forward the bigger plans I have with the channel going forward, getting everything that I love about making films and making content. It was just, I don't know how to describe it. And the reception, this was the one that I was like praying to God. I was like, please, for the love of God, let this be so successful. I'm not a stat person, I know, but please, let this be a fucking hit. And it was like a hit right out of the gates. and I'm so happy. I didn't realize this until later, but my buddy Scram, he actually fucking showed his viewers on stream my video, and I'm watching everyone enjoy it and watching him enjoy it. It was magical. It was absolutely magical, and it put a smile on my face. I genuinely was like, this is one of my proudest moments. I genuinely was so happy. I couldn't stop smiling. I was so fucking happy. And again, this was my grand finale. I may have been exhausted for a week afterwards, and a lot of my sleep schedule was fucked, and of course, I was just burnt out for a week afterwards, but I earned that month vacation, because this was the best thing I could have ever fucking done. And again, thank you guys so much for showing up for the 1 year of the Game Dimension. Not just the special, but for the entire 1 year of the Game Dimension, and making that first year of doing reviews, despite all the hiccups mentally and physically and technically, so magical. I couldn't have done any of this without you guys, and it was so much fun. So of course, after I did the 1 year anniversary of the Game Dimension, I took my break in July. I ended up going to a couple places with my wife. I ended up just, relaxing, playing video games, catching up on my backlog, and just having an all-around good time. I completely forgot what it was like to take a vacation and not work, because literally, I think 2 weeks into my vacation, I immediately sat up and I was like, you know what I should do? I have a great idea for my next review of the Game Dimension, and people would yell at me, no, go on vacation, stop. And of course, me being me, the workaholic that I am, I was just like, fuck, you're right, but I really want to get going into it. And this was sort of like my peak. This is like, of course, when I went on vacation is the moment I start hitting my peak in stride, and I'm like, I want to keep churning out content. I want to keep doing this and that. I want to keep getting better. I'm now fully energized. Let's go. But of course, I had to honor my word, and I went on a month vacation. And of course, when we came back in August, I premiered the teaser for the Season 2 premiere of Golden Sun, which was going to be the start of Season 2 of the Game Dimension, and of course, was going to be a big review. This was going to be a pretty awesome review, I thought. I premiered the teaser, and then I streamed afterwards, basically making my comeback to content in general. Golden Sun I wanted to have out in August. I was so determined to break the August curse, because as many of you know, I wanted Paper Mario The Origami King to come out in August, just because it was a game that I was so excited for, but unfortunately, I took a break. I took a little bit of vacation from work to work on the review and also watch hockey that was coming back. As many of you know, I reached a very bad mental low. I won't go into details, but let's just say that if I didn't push forward, I probably would not be here today. That's not an understatement either. I was drained. I don't remember anything from some of the hockey games. Like, I just sat there, slouched on the couch, dazing, like, slowly phasing out of life. I don't remember anything from the first 2 days of trying to relax and make Paper Mario The Origami King. It was a very bad mental low, and I wanted to break that August curse. And I was like, I'm gonna get a video out in August. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be Golden Sun, especially because Golden Sun anniversary for a lot of fans was during August, and actually premiered the teaser for Golden Sun on Golden Sunday, so that way I can get some fans invested. Not just because, oh, I want you guys to come in and be a part of the community, subscribe and all that, but because I genuinely wanted to be a part of the Golden Sun community. So I was excited to get this teaser out and get the review out by the end of August. That went to shit really fucking quick. Very quickly, as many of you know. So, of course, after the big stream return and big YouTube return, a lot of stuff went down in August. Family-wise, there were some health concerns, and of course, the big thing where a person that I no longer associate with, things unraveled quickly with that person. I'm not going to go over every single detail. I'm going to leave the link to the twit long that I did describing everything that happened, so that way you know the situation if you haven't already. But that situation took up a big chunk of my life. It was horrible. I was heartbroken. They were a person that I grew to trust in such a short time. They were one of my closest friends, and for them to come out as they did, yeah, I get mad too. It just, and being involved, it was just an awful time, and it was heartbreaking to have to let so many people know and have to spend so much time where a lot of us were coming back. A lot of us were at our peak with content, I feel like. To have it all halt for the greater good, obviously, which I'm always going to do, it was demoralizing, especially because, with me and the guilt that I bear, being a part of that situation. Again, I won't go into every detail, but, the guilt that I feel sometimes of that situation, even though that I absolutely shouldn't feel that, and people let me know that I shouldn't feel guilty about my involvement with everything because it wasn't my fault, I still bear that guilt. Every once in a while, I still think about it, and like it's horrible, you know? That situation was horrible, and again, on top of that, you know, the family health concerns and some other things going on with my mental health, it was horrible. It was a horrible, horrible time. I know I'm being redundant by using the word horrible, but I never thought I could get worse than last August. Really, I never thought I would get worse than August 2020 or my high school career. This August was probably one of the worst months in recent memory that I could think of. So much was going wrong. That situation in general, I think I had more mental breakdowns and just absolutely bawled my eyes out and just laid in a corner, like, dry heaving, because so much was going on. It was absolutely overwhelming, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was a horrible, horrible time. And at that point, I started questioning, you know, is content even worth it at this point? Am I even going to be happy anymore? Because, you know, doing content like I love isn't going to be the same. You know, I'm cursed. I call it the August curse, especially because I can't get a fucking video out in August so far. That seems to be the curse so far. Everything bad happens in August. You know, I was debating everything. Like, I'm trying to make a big comeback, and I keep breaking these promises because of everything going on. Am I even worth doing content? Am I even worth it as a person? I started debating so much about myself and so much about the content that I love. But we got through August, okay? And I somehow managed to get through August. I started to come back slowly to streaming, and I started to work on the Golden Sun review. And I thought, okay, we're just gonna come back and we're gonna do it in September, just like we did with Paper Mario: The Origami King. No, September was just the follow-up to August. If I wasn't already beaten down enough, September was somehow just as bad, if not worse. I started to have health concerns myself, especially with my eyes. For a while, I filmed this review partially blind because I just, you know, I wanted to go through with it, but I reached some really bad mental lows. Not as bad as August, of course, but the fallout of everything happening in August was still fresh in my mind, obviously. It was such a short time. I was horrified. I was scared. I was beaten down. I was frustrated. I was angry. I was anxious. I was upset. I was disappointed in myself and everything going on. There were so many things going on in my life that were out of my control. And that's one of the things I'm trying to learn as I go and, like, stick by, is that things out of my control aren't my fault. But at the same time, it's just like, you know, I bear a lot of guilt. I'm a very empathetic person, so I feel a lot of things. And the empathy was crushing during this time. Crushing during August and September. It legitimately felt like at any moment, one thing, like one pin drop, could go and send me over the cliff. That was my mindset. And I'm still feeling the repercussions of, like, trying to recover from those 2 months, you know, and trying to get better. Because it was a scary time. I genuinely did not know if I was going to make it out alive, or if the game dimension and streaming were ever going to continue. But come October, Golden Sun premiered. I was shaking. I was nervous. I knew that, you know, I kept sugarcoating, like, this is going to be the time. I'm going to be doing the Golden Sun review during this time and this and that. And unfortunately, with content and just life in general, you can only break so many promises before people start getting fed up. And again, as much as I know a lot of you would understand, there are people that won't, and people that will walk away from my content, which I don't blame them for. You know, unfortunately, I just couldn't stay healthy. I just couldn't stay healthy mentally or physically enough to keep my promises. And of course, work started going to shit as well. So it was a very nerve-wracking time. I was like, are people even going to show up? Are people even going to remember me? And Golden Sun was so successful too. It has a slow start, which was a bit upsetting to me in that mental mind state at the time. But looking back and how it's been now, I'm very proud of Golden Sun. That was a Season 2 premiere that I could not have asked for to go any differently. Again, I filmed it partially blind at some point, as many of you know. It ended up becoming a very long review, which I didn't expect. I ended up loving Golden Sun so much. It's not obviously the best game of all time, but again, I see where the hype is, and I love Golden Sun, and I'm glad I could be a part of this community now, and I'm looking forward to reviewing the sequels and being a part of the hype now that I get it. Being a part of this Golden Sun review and finally getting this out, it felt good. It felt extremely good, I was happy, and I'm still happy with it, you know? Obviously, with every review and everything that I do, there all are things that I would change or take back, whether it's circumstances of weather, filming circumstances, health, or whatnot, or just personal things with my script writing or editing that I could do better or change differently. There's obviously going to be those, but Golden Sun is probably a top 4 for my favorite reviews. It was such a wonderful time, and I got to talk about an RPG, one of my favorite genres of all time. I genuinely am so proud of that review. It performed so well. It's one of my favorite videos to film. You guys absolutely love the Golden Sun review as well. And again, thank you guys so much for being so patient. I can't thank you guys enough. Really, I can't. It's a big sob story, I know, yada yada, but being so patient. I was scared that a lot of things would go wrong. I was so scared that everyone would start giving up on me. And you guys, no one gave up on me. I feel like, if anything, you guys reinforced the idea that content is where I deserve to be. It doesn't matter where I do my content, but I don't think I could I don't think I could do anything else in life. I don't think I would ever enjoy being anything else, whether it's a doctor, a lawyer, an office job, or whatever. Entertainment is, I feel like, where my heart belongs. And even though it's going to be a long process to ever get where I want to be, if at all, for that matter, I'm glad that I'm sticking by it. And I'm glad that, you know, I got through those dark times. And I'm glad that I'm here, you know? So, again, Golden Sun wasn't just, I feel like, a return to the game dimension for Season 2. It felt like a return to doing what I love, period. And a return to being me. And even though it's still a long process, and even though, like I mentioned, I still bear the guilt of that situation in August for a lot of reasons that, again, the tweet in the description will describe, it felt good. It felt good to come to that content. So again, thank you guys so much for being so patient and making that return an amazing return, just like everything else. And that leads into me wanting to do a Halloween special, which also didn't end up happening. I wanted to review a game which I'm going to review in January, because even though I wanted to review it for Halloween, it's still a game that I feel is very important, and I feel like is a game that I'm especially excited for. May knows. Yeah, I can see the eyeballs, May. You're excited. You're absolutely excited. But I wanted to review it because how I want to film this review in regards to the game is I wanted to give it a very spooky vibe, and I'm still going to do it, obviously, like sort of a psychological, creepy vibe, but I wanted to do it for Halloween especially. But, of course, nothing can go right still. Unfortunately, this is around the time where my therapist essentially told me, hey, because of your insurance, and because your insurance wants some big leaps and bounds, which I totally understand is not the case right now of so many things, we can't do sessions until either you call me for an emergency or you make some big progress with a lot of your goals, which, unfortunately, I haven't been to therapy since. You know, I'm still not where I want to be with my career. I still have some things going on with my life, and unfortunately, at this point, I just, you know, I haven't been to therapy still. So that started taking a toll on me. Where I thought I was recovering from mental health, I slowly chipped away back into that hole, but I pushed myself back up. And of course, too, like I mentioned, work started fucking me over in so many ways. My schedule for work is still inconsistent. They flipped me on days that I wasn't supposed to work. They flipped around my hours so much. I legitimately could not catch a break in October. The only reason there's no Halloween special was because of work. I legitimately was fucking pissed because I could not get this review out, and I wanted to do a Halloween special. I was so happy to do a Halloween special since I didn't get to last year. But unfortunately, I have bills to pay, and this doesn't pay my bills for like ever. Maybe forever, maybe for a couple years, who knows, but it doesn't pay the bills, and I needed to take care of what I needed to do. So unfortunately, I had to oblige with work, and that meant putting aside the Halloween special and just jumping into the next review, which is actually what we're going to talk about right now. Skatebirds was the next review that I did, and oh boy, that was a fun one. Basically, November, I won in November. Again, no review in November, so it ended my cycle where I had a review in Golden Sun and all that shit. So basically, I wanted to do November, and this is what I want to do for every season, or whatever I feel like it's necessary. I want to do November. I reviewed Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 last year, and introduced a character, you all know him, Radical Benson, and he was a fan favorite. So I think it was October. Around September it was. Around September, I started looking at skateboarding games. that I could review for the channel for November, because I wanted to make every November, a sort of Radical Benson return type of thing. Unfortunately, as many of you know, Activision is a scumbag company that are a bunch of bitches and abuse their employees, and of course they ended up having a big stake, I've come to find, in the skateboarding industry in regards to video games. So I made a promise, and I'm still going to keep this promise: no Activision games are going to be streamed or reviewed until shit changes, which may never happen. So unfortunately, a lot of popular games by Activision, you're never going to see on this channel. I even feel guilty putting the Crash Bandicoot 4 review up, but I'm never reviewing another Activision game again until something happens. So, which meant skateboarding games and Radical Benson may have had to die. But then I remembered there was a game I was hyped for named Skatebirds, and I was like, alright, let's do Skatebirds. Let's make a storyline where Radical Benson has to prove himself before he can actually be a mainstay on this channel. And basically, this was my testing of the waters of, without Activision's mainstay of Pro Skater and without some of the other games they've done, can I do skateboarding games justice still? Can I still find games to enjoy that aren't by Activision for the skateboarding genre, so that way people can get what they love in regards to Radical Benson and other shit? And the answer was yes. Yes, it was. Even though I ended up not loving Skatebirds as a game, the review itself is probably one of my favorites in regards to comedy, just because I got to give Radical Benson a bit more depth. I got to test around with the idea of, oh, even though if I do skateboarding games, can I make Radical Benson a funny joke still? And every single one of you love Radical Benson. I apparently did him so much justice, which I didn't even realize was a thing I could mess up, but he is coming back. Rest assured, he's no longer just a one-off gag. Whenever I review a skateboarding game, you can expect Radical Benson in some shape or form. Will it be to the extent of Skatebird, where he's reviewing with me? Probably not. You know, you have to let some jokes, take the gas off of some jokes, obviously, but he will make some appearances, because apparently you guys love him that much. And I don't understand it still, and I never will understand it, but give the people what they want, and what they want is Radical Benson, you insane mad lads. But of course, Skatebirds, on a statistical standpoint, it's performing decently. Unfortunately, because November was also a shit show in regards to Thanksgiving and the holidays and work as well, I had to push the review back to early December. And last I checked, it was still performing decently. It's picking up a lot more ground now, I feel like, but at first it wasn't picking up too much ground. It still was a positive reception out of the gates, but in regards to the general scope of being popular amongst my videos, it's definitely not, which I feel like is going to be a lot of skateboarding games at this point. But it's still a really fun video that I got to make. I got to throw a mannequin out the window and have some help with that, put him in a bird costume and shit. That was fucking fun. But yeah, it was just, that one was fun to film, and I'm very happy with that video as well. The game itself, different story, but the video and the review itself, I feel like, is one of my favorite videos to film on a comedic standpoint, because, again, I got to challenge myself. The Cat in the Hat was a silent character. I actually had to write dialogue for a wacky character that was in my channel, and I feel like for the most part, I did pretty good with it. I gave Radical Benson a bit more depth of his jokes. A lot of you echo that sentiment, so I'd say it was a success, all things considered. And of course, that led into the final video that I made recently and released on Christmas Day. At the end of Skatebird, I continued the lore with the hooded figure and with the dimensions and everything, and I introduced him basically dropping off games for me to review for the Christmas special. So with that said, how did it go? How did the Christmas special go? Especially with such short notice. How did filming this Christmas special that may or may not happen that I didn't get to do last year, did I break that curse? Unlike the Halloween special and the getting a video out in August curse, how did that go? Really fucking, oh my god, there's a raid. Dramatic suspense. Hi, TJ. Welcome to the raid, everybody. Hello, everyone. Howdy. Thank you, Bearded Beagle, for the Beagle. Whoa, I can't speak. For the follow. I'm gonna take a drink real quick. Hello, everyone. Kick ass. I know, right? Thank you for the raid. Hi. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for the shout out. TJ is a wonderful person. Please feel free to follow him if you haven't already. You're all just in time, actually. Thank you for the bits, for the 100 bits, Negatron. I appreciate it. Hi, how goes stream? It's going well. So for those of you that don't know, that are coming from TJ's stream, I've sort of canceled all point redemptions because I'm doing a wrap up for 2021, not just for streaming, but also because I'm uploading this VOD as a whole to YouTube. Say hi to the YouTube community, everyone on Twitch. Hey, what's up, Aldo? So, this is going to go straight on YouTube, so that way I can do my wrap-up for everything, and we're going to talk about Game of the Year and answer some questions later on, but for now, we're going over 2021 in regards to content as a whole. So, we're finally on to the point of the Christmas special. I wanted to do something special, and my buddy Connor, for those of you that don't know him, he's my best friend, he's my brother, he's an amazing guy. He came up to me earlier in the year and said, you and I should do a Gremlins game review for Christmas, and I said, let's fucking do it. We ordered the games, we started playing the games as early as November. It wasn't just one game, we were basically reviewing several games, 4 games for that matter, and it was a very interesting time, especially because we have very different conflicting schedules. My heart was pounding, time was running short, we had literally 2 weeks to film an entire video after playing every single game after so long, write the script, film it, and get that shit set. Thank you for the gifted sub to Maple Isle. So, we got that video out on Christmas Day. What do I feel? How do I feel about that Christmas special? How do I feel about bomb rushing that entire process and getting all that shit set? Is it one of my worst videos to ever make? Am I not proud of it? No. Actually, surprisingly enough, this video, the Christmas special with Connor, was not only the smoothest video to ever fucking make, but is one of my, not even one, is my favorite review of all time. Not only did Connor and I get together and get to do our humor and review games about stuff that we love, not only did we get to do that, but we got to implement our humor, get some jabs at other communities, and get some references to our inside jokes, and we literally filmed everything, whether it was the live action shit or the voiceovers. We got to film the live action shit, all of the scenes outside of the studio and in the studio, and the voiceovers. We filmed it all in one day. Usually with filming based on different things going on, because, you know, obviously my wife helps me with filming outside of the studio. With everything in regards to normal filming, it takes maybe 1 or 2 days for me to film everything. This took me legitimately, with Connor, we ended up filming this in less than 12 hours. About 9 hours, I believe, with breaks in between, mind you, to go get some tea for a walk and other shit. We filmed this all in 9 hours, and honestly, with everything said and done, it was so much fun. The easiest process ever. Connor was an absolute joy. This was his first ever review, and a lot of you echo the same thing that I say. That man, for his first ever review, is a professional. And Connor, when you're watching this on YouTube, because I know you will, you wanted to start reviews, do it. This is your go-ahead. Absolutely do it. This was so much fun to film. We made so many references, like holding the Gremlins games and making them cause havoc was a cute little nod back to like early 2010s, late 2000s, where basically those angry video game types of things where they would hold the games and have them cause shit. We got to do that. We got to do so many references to Gremlins and other shit. It was just so much fun. And of course, I continued the lore with the hooded figure and all that shit. It was just so much fun to film. It was an amazing Christmas special. I couldn't have asked for a better first start to filming a holiday special, period. And it was just great. I couldn't say it enough. And that video is already gaining so much traction within a week. Yeah, a week. Basically, almost a week it's been out at this point. And it's already surpassed 100 views and is catching up to Skatebird. That video is so popular. I have not thought of a video that has gained that much popularity in less than a week in such a long time. I think the last time was actually, it feels like a long time I'm saying, but it was actually the 1-year anniversary of the Game Dimension. That Christmas special was so much fun. I got it out on Christmas Day. I wanted to get it out for his birthday on December 23rd, but of course with editing and with work, so much happened that got in the way. And of course I also did my own birthday stream as well, which thank you by the way for that excitement as well. But the Christmas special is my favorite review to ever make, and it was phenomenal. So again, thank you for showing up on Christmas Day, and thank you for making it an absolutely wonderful, wonderful experience. I couldn't have done it without any of you guys. I'm so proud of this video. I'm so proud of working with Connor. Truly, thank you guys for making that video so great. God damn it. Yeah, hype train, eh? Thank you, Brian. Of course. Of course. Yep, there it is. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Hi, everyone. This is one of those cuts that I was talking about. Did someone say Bubsy? Oh, no. So, this is one of those cuts that I was talking about. Welcome back. My community did a hype train. Sorry for that cut, but to wrap it up, essentially, yeah. That Christmas special is my favorite video to film ever, and one of my favorite reviews. It's obviously, like, it's not, like, the same feature-length stuff as the 1-year anniversary, but I feel like both of those have a special place in my heart. And, of course, I got to do my first ever collaboration on the Game Dimension. Technically, it's a New School Arcade collaboration, which is a gaming channel that me and my friend Connor do, obviously, but it's still a collaboration at the end of the day, and it opens the door to so many collaborations I hope to do, not just this year, but in the future. Really, I appreciate it so much, and thank you guys for not only proving to me and Connor that this was amazing, but also just making this Christmas special so successful. But with that said, that basically wraps up 2021. Literally, the content, we had its ups, mostly downs, but looking back on my streaming and looking back on my content for the Game Dimension and wrapping up Season 1 and beginning Season 2 despite all of the hiccups, even though I'm still not there mentally, and I probably never will be, I was never there before mentally when it came to, like, feeling good before I started content, I'd say I was proud of this year. This year, despite everything that happened, was phenomenal, and you guys made it worth it. Every single one of you. You guys got me to 100 subscribers. We're at 159 last I checked. 159 subscribers on the Game Dimension. Over 5,000 views, I believe. 2,000 views almost at this point for my Twitch VODs and just Twitch in general. Again, thank you guys so much for making this an amazing year for content. For making this even better than when I first started it. Streaming and YouTube were some of the best decisions I ever made. And if somehow, some way, in the future, this YouTube and Twitch thing stick, I'm so happy if it does. And believe me, if this somehow sticks and somehow ends up being what I end up doing for content with my life, I'm proud of it. And I'm glad I got to meet so many people in the community from Twitch and YouTube. Really, I'm still speechless. I'm trying not to get emotional because you guys are fucking phenomenal and amazing. And I missed you guys so much when I was on break for July or whatever breaks I was doing. Thank you so much for making this an amazing year. My first full year of doing content, mind you. Thank you so much for making it memorable, and I hope that we can go up from here. Really, thank you so much. But that leads into my next segment in regards to 2022. With everything said, in regards to the streaming and my gaming content on YouTube, what does 2022 hold for the Game Dimension and streaming? To be honest, I don't know. I ended on a positive note with the last segment, sure, and everything seems to be looking up now in regards to everything. But in regards to schedules, I don't know. In regards to, like, a consistent schedule for content on YouTube, I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. Unfortunately, right now, with the pandemic seemingly sort of getting worse again, despite all the vaccinations and shit, and just all around, like, my work, we are doing a current charity stream next year. You know it. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. Hold on. It's coming. All right, cool. Oh, excuse me. But in regards to a consistent schedule for the Game Dimension and my streaming, thank you, Belial. Thank you guys in chat for the bless yous. But I genuinely don't know what's gonna happen. Unfortunately, as we all know, the pandemic and the world around us just seem to be getting worse when it seemed to be getting good again, which sucks. And it may be like this for a while. And unfortunately, one of the areas that seem to be get hit the most is the workforce. And unfortunately, as many of you know, like I mentioned earlier, this isn't my big paying job. I have a job that pays the bills. And unfortunately, that job right now is struggling big time. And finding a TV studio to work with has not been easy, you know? It's not been easy either because, again, a lot of studios are set right now. You know, they were set during the pandemic as well. So unfortunately, finding some consistency with my work schedule has not been it. Literally, like, I've had to work an overnight, I've had to work several late nights, it's fucked up my sleep schedule, it's fucked up my work schedule, and even next week, for example, I work mostly night shifts. I'm working all mids next week. I couldn't tell you, for the love of God, what the hell is going to happen for consistency. For the game dimension, I'm still aiming to do 1 review a month, maybe 2, depending on how it goes. Streaming, I wanted to do like a stream schedule that I threw out the window back in September. Unfortunately, with, like, again, my work schedule just sort of fluctuating back and forth, I couldn't tell you what my stream schedule was going to look like. But if you're in the Discord server and you follow me on Twitter, that's where you can stay up to date on all my streams. I'm going to stream as much as I can, obviously. I'll try to stay up to date as much as I can on everything, but until this stuff pays my bills and is my main thing, I unfortunately have to work at the job that I'm at now. And even if I end up leaving that place in the future, which I'm hoping, and then end up at another job, whether it's a studio or not, I still don't know what my work schedule is going to look like. I still aim to do 1 review a month, maybe 2, depending on how it goes, just for the game dimension. But in regards to streams, especially, the frequency of streams is going to be as frequent as I can help. But also, too, in regards to what time they're going to be and what days they're going to be, I guess it depends on how I'm feeling after work or before work and what my work schedule even looks like. So, compared to last year's wrap-up where I felt confident going into the year on what my schedule looks like, this year for the future, I couldn't tell you. And of course, in regards to the game dimension going on to that, I want to do a little bit of experimentation. I've talked to my friends about this. I've talked to a lot of viewers, of course, too. And I've been thinking about this for a while. The Gremlins game especially opened to my eyes to the fact that if I can do multiple games in one video, so like with the Gremlins video where I reviewed several short games in one video, I might start doing those more, like doing some shovelware games or like multiple games in a short series that I can all fit into like one video, you know what I mean? So I may start doing those more. Maybe that'll make it so that way I can do 2 videos a month. But I'm still going to do my big reviews, obviously. I'm still building up the lore and all that shit. But as of right now, I do want to experiment a bit more with content on the game dimension. I do a lot of reviews, but generally speaking, I really do want to actually also like do video essays. So those of you that don't know, a really cool guy that I've met and I want to talk to more, his name's Lamhoot. He's a really awesome dude. He used to do reviews as well, but now he does video essays. Like, how is VR bad for, like, inciting violence and shit? And he does, like, also other things, such as, you know, a game called Barry Manilow Love. He did, like, the importance of that game on the immigration talk. He basically does these video essays without having to do reviews. I kind of want to experiment a bit of those, and it also fits because those videos are long, and my reviews are already long as it is, so it absolutely makes sense for me to, you know, do video essays like that. It'd be really fucking cool, and I've been thinking of a few of them myself. So expect maybe some video essays once or twice throughout the year. Expect my reviews, obviously, as usual, but also expect maybe some smaller videos of multiple games in one video, just so that way I can get some more content out for you guys that I enjoy as well. It's not gonna sacrifice any of the quality, but again, just to upgrade the quantity a bit, I'm not gonna sacrifice the quality, but I am gonna experiment a bit. And of course, that leads me into my next big thing in regards to experimentation. Ladies and gentlemen, I never thought I'd be saying this, but people are holding me at gunpoint to say it. I now have a game dimension team. That's right. I basically have a team of people that are gonna help me make the game dimension a bit of a better channel in regards to the process of smoothing out content, smoothing out the finer details. These people I trust with everything so far, and I am absolutely excited to introduce them to you guys. Some of them that you may actually already know. These are basically people that I trust with the quality of the game dimension and basically helping the filming, the script writing, whatever. I'm not going to sacrifice anything of my rights, but they're basically helping me out with smoothing out the iron details and everything. So, again, I will always be doing the script writing and the editing and the reviewing, obviously. Nothing's going to change. I'm not going to give away my entire process to, like, an entire team. But in regards to helping me film and make some of the main process easier, I'm going to rely on these guys going forward for any critiques and praises and just helping me film in general. Again, I'm still doing the editing, I'm still doing the reviewing, and most of the script writing. All of the script writing, unless it's a collaboration, of course. But when it comes to notes on how to edit my script and helping me film, like hold the camera and film, These are the guys I'm trusting going forward. So without further ado, let me introduce you to them. First of all, the people that have been here from the start. There is, of course, many of you know her and love her. It is Better Benson. Better Benson is legitimately the one that's been with me, one of the ones of the two, I should say, that has been helping me from the start. She's been helping me with the filming. She's literally in the Cat in the Hat suit all the time. She puts herself in so many situations to help me out. She's in so many wacky situations as well. The Cat in the Hat suit especially, we laugh about so much, but she legitimately helps me so much with this in regards to filming. She's my script editor and everything. She gives me all the notes where she's like, okay, this is what you can do better. This is what I really like, you know? In regards to, like, everything on this, she's been my biggest help. And of course, I'm also making this team to help her workload and sort of spread it out a bit more. So we both have been, like, she's one of the best people that have been a part of this process. So I'm very excited to have her officially on the Game Dimension team. With that being said, there's also been another person that's been on the Game Dimension from the start. Many of you may know them. They're my younger sibling, Fusefall. Fuse has been actually making the thumbnails for the Game Dimension up until this point. Really awesome work. And also, they've been helping me in regards to other filming as well. So when Better Benson isn't available, Fuse has been helping me film. Fuse has had a few... Fuse says ratio. You motherfucker. I could see you in there. But Fuse has been helping me in general too with some other scripts as well. And also been a part of the filming process. They are actually my stunt double in many, many ways. Fuse and Better Benson have been here from the start and have helped the Game Dimension be what it is. So they are the OG members, I guess, of the Game Dimension team. And I'm very excited to officially have them on board. With that being said, I want you guys to meet the new members of the Game Dimension team. So, first of all, this is another guy that you all know and love. With that being said, he's a homie, he's a G, he's one of my best friends in the entire world, and he is about as passionate as content as I am. Shogunai the leader, welcome to the Game Dimension team. Of course, I had to ask him first, and he's also been yelling at me anyways. He's basically not far from where I live, and has also offered himself multiple times and has screamed at me that I need more help to make my life a bit easier. Literally, we were on call in the server watching the Christmas special, and the first words out of his mouth after the review ended was, "Well, Benson, I hope this taught you a lesson that having more hands can be helpful." And I'm like, fine, I get it. I guess I'll make you a part of the team. He has offered himself so much, and in general is an amazing guy, about as passionate of content as I am, and he is, I can now literally say I just work here. He does. And it's great because I already help him edit his content, which we'll get into again in regards to the future, but I'm very grateful to have him on. Every time he reviews my videos, he gives me the most honest critiques and compliments in the world. He actually helps. He's part of the reason why the Game Dimension keeps upping its game as it is, because he absolutely gives me the brutal honesty that I need. Every single person from Fuse to Better Benson and Show gives me the brutal honesty that I fucking need. And I can't thank him enough, and I'm glad to have him officially on the team. I haven't even gotten a raise. Oh my god, here we go. I'm probably part-time. So, with that being said, too, there's two more people, actually. Another person that has offered themselves quite a bit is Connor. And Connor is officially a part of the Game Dimension team. Now, let me tell you guys a little story about Connor. I have never met a more passionate fan of the Game Dimension, and he's my best friend, mind you. He doesn't have to be this passionate. Literally, the man told me that he watches several of my reviews on repeat a lot. He literally watched the Skateboard review in preparation for the Christmas special. The man took a selfie with the plushie mole and the drone for the mole review that I made. And he asked me, because he saw that I had the paper with, like, the male mole thumbnail and, like, the fake code that I made. He asked me if I could autograph it and give it to him, which I still gotta do. But he legitimately is the biggest fan of the Game Dimension that I have ever met. And he also is a part of the process, because not only has he helped me film with the 1-year anniversary special and the Christmas special, obviously, but he also is the one that gives me a lot of honest feedback and criticism when I need it. So, of course, he's going to be my content quality controller and my filmmaker if I need, along with Show. They're both going to be quality control and filming. Hi, Bear. Why are you here? Go lie down. But Connor doesn't have a Twitch. He's part of New School Arcade, though, which is awesome. Yes, Bear's here. Is it time for you to feed? Is it time to feed? Is that what it is? Hey, honey, Fuse, can one of you guys please come down here? He's legitimately staring at me, and he won't go away. Guys, help. Legitimately, Bear is, like, staring at me like he's gonna fucking eat me. Go lie down, Bubba. Go lie down. Go lie down. Thank you. Benson's friend, Connor. But, yeah, with that being said, Connor and Show are going to be my new quality control and filmmakers, and obviously I'm going to collaborate with them more in the future as well for reviews. We've talked about a couple of reviews that we want to do, but they are basically a part of the Game Dimension team. But also, too, I'm going to take these off since nothing else is happening, and my ears are killing me. But there's one more person that none of you, I feel like, have heard of in regards to the team, and this also goes hand in hand with Show, because earlier in December and November, I put out a thing on Twitter, Instagram, and the Discord server where I started asking people, hey, if you're an artist and are interested in a gig to be a thumbnail artist paid, please let me know. And I got a outpouring of so many different responses, and I have a thumbnail artist now. Going forward, these thumbnails will be drawn by a person that I'm very happy to have on board, known as Sawyer, aka Star Heavenly, on Twitch and Twitter. Going back to Show, he's been a part of not just like the quality process, but him, Connor, and Better Benson were the people that I ran a lot of the artists by. Every single artist, I showed them the art, we went over each artist and went over each decision before I did the interviews and everything, and what they thought of the art, and we echoed a lot of the same sentiment. I had so many people outpouring. Every single artist was fucking amazing. I couldn't choose. I legitimately couldn't choose. Every artist was amazing. Every interview that I had with the artist was phenomenal, and I vibed with every single one. But Sawyer, I'm going to go forward with as my thumbnail artist, and if all goes according to plan, you're actually going to start seeing their thumbnail work as soon as January. So the January review that I have in mind, keep an eye out for their art. I'm so excited to be working with them. I vibed so well with them. Sorry, they're feeding Bear right now. I'm thrilled. I'm honored that so many artists came forward and asked to even be thought of for this. Like, they acted like all of a sudden they were like, it's an honor to like work with you. It's an honor to work with them. It's an honor to like talk to any artist. I didn't expect so many people to come out just like that and be interested. It really was such a tough decision. But Sawyer is who I'm going to go with. I'm so excited. I'm hoping I can have you guys meet them at some point, whether I have them like join on like a little joke stream for like playing Jackbox or whatever, or just in the Discord server. But I'm excited for you guys to meet Sawyer. They're an awesome person. Sawyer, I'm so excited to work with you if you're watching this. It was so great to have that meeting with you and even bounce ideas off of you. I'm so excited. So there's your Game Dimension team. Sawyer, Show, Connor, Better Benson, and Fuse going forward will help me make the process of making the Game Dimension even stand out even more and make it even better than last year easier. They will make the Game Dimension what it is now and going forward even more. I'm so excited to have these guys on the team. It's an absolute honor to have every single person on board, and of course Twitch too. Ryoko's technically a part of the Stream Dimension team because they've made all the emotes as well. Please welcome Ryoko on as well. It is an absolute honor to have every single person on board, and I cannot wait to see what the Game Dimension holds. Now, in regards to streaming, like I said, the schedule is a bit wonky because I don't know what work's gonna hold, but technically speaking, yeah, because you made the emotes. Why the hell would I not have you on the team? Technically speak, don't, Ryoko, don't cry. You're an artist. You were an artist for the emotes, and you've been a big supporter. It's an honor to have you on the Stream Dimension team, my friend. But with that being said, what do we have in regards to the Stream Dimension? What's coming for the year for streaming? To tell you the truth, I've got some big plans for streaming. First of all, we're going to be doing the charity stream again in May. I am not going to reveal any details yet, but let's just say that now that I've worked out some of the kinks, and I hope to have a gaming PC by then and work out even more kinks with that, this charity stream is going to be even bigger than the last one. So look forward to that. Look forward to the May charity stream, and look for an official announcement of everything, technically in April. But I also have my 1-year anniversary on Twitch coming up. So it's around March. I gotta look at the specific date of when I first started streaming just to make sure. But I am so excited to celebrate an entire year of streaming with you guys. It's an absolute honor to entertain, just like with the Game Dimension. So I have some big plans for my 1-year anniversary that's coming up, so keep an eye out for that. Obviously, I've got a big birthday stream coming up way later next year in December. So those are my big plans that I'm going to reveal for now. So again, welcome to 2022 for content. Please welcome the Game Dimension team and the Stream Dimension team, and I hope you guys are looking forward to the Game Dimension and the Stream Dimension, because believe me, not only do we have an entire team, but we're going to make this go out with a big bang. Literally, the January review, I'm starting out with a bang. I'm not coming out, like, lightly punching. I'm coming out swinging. The 2-year anniversary / season 2 finale of the Game Dimension, I'm already planning ahead. Look forward to that. I'm absolutely coming out swinging. And believe me, I'm not going to have anything stopping my way. I'm getting a review out in August, whether I like it or not. It's going to happen. I'm breaking that August curse. I'm excited. I'm hyped for the future. And I hope all of you guys are too, because believe me, it's just going to blow you guys out of the water. I hope to blow you guys out of the water, and I hope you guys are proud of what's coming just as much as I'm excited. And I hope you guys enjoyed 2021, because that was just the start of a ride. 2022, even though that year's probably going to go to shit just like this year in 2020, 2022 is going to be a big fucking year for the Game Dimension and streaming. Believe me, you are not going to want to miss this. And I'm going to make sure that I will not have as many broken promises. I am going to make sure that work, mental health, physical illness, nothing will stop me. And that's a damn promise I hope to keep. And I will definitely show you guys that staying with me in 2021, despite all the hiccups and putting your trust in me, was not a mistake. We're going to make 2022 big for the Game Dimension and the Stream Dimension. So again, it is an absolute honor to work with everyone, and I'm very excited for what 2022 has to bring. And I hope to have even more people on the Game Dimension team by the end of the year. So believe me, this isn't the solid team just yet. The more I put forward with this Game Dimension stuff, the more people I'm going to need. So believe me, we got an Avengers level team here going on. You thought Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield hopefully being in Spider-Man No Way Home was the promise of a big crossover? No. Let me tell you right now. Spider-Man crossing over and the hopes of that, not as big as the Game Dimension team. Let me fucking tell you. This team is the biggest crossover ever. And I'm so excited to work with everyone, and I hope you guys are excited to see everyone too. With that being said though, of course, with the person I mentioned no longer in the friend group and sort of quote-unquote canceled, I guess, dating Shrimpulator is not happening anymore, so that's out the window. I'm still doing flatmates with George and Shroop over on George Mario Nerd's channel, so that's happening. In regards to, what else? In regards to show, I'm so sorry I suck at editing. I'm sorry I'm an absolute failure. Now that everything with mental health is slowly getting better, I'm going to get back to editing for Shogun Idol Leader, which I'm very excited for. I'm also editing for my wife on her booktube channel, and of course, you know, with the Game Dimension and the Stream Dimension, New School Arcade's making a big comeback. I really mean it this time. Now that me and Connor are fully vaccinated and boosted, you can wholeheartedly bet we're going to come out swinging with New School Arcade. So Shogun Idol Leader, Neverland Reader, Game Dimension, New School Arcade, and the Stream Dimension. We're coming out swinging. And you better fucking believe that you don't want to miss anything, because it's going to be hype as shit. Really. Even if things don't go 100% according to plan, if most of it goes to plan, which I want it to, you're going to love it. Trust me. So, with that being said though, we have some games to talk about. 2021 Game of the Year. It's going to be an interesting one because, like last year, I have a lot to talk about. Okay, so just to start it off really quick, a lot of people would say 2021 was definitely a weaker year in gaming, which I can understand, but in my opinion, I personally ate well with games this year. Indie games, remakes, games on PS5, which I finally managed to get a hold of, thank fucking God. You know, games in general, I feel like this is a really awesome year if you're a fan of 3D platformers, some really interesting RPGs, and indies. Only specific things. In general, year for gaming definitely is not one of the most memorable to a lot of people, but in my opinion, I think this is one of the strongest years we've seen in a while, in all honesty. Like, it's not mind-blowing like some previous years, but this year was phenomenal, and I could totally see why people would say it's not good, but I personally ate well this year. as you can see with a lot of the games that I have now. But it's just interesting to see this talk. But before we get into the actual game of the year, though, just like last year, I want to talk about my favorite remake, remaster, whatever, or port. Basically, what I'm talking about is welcome to the Redo Dimension Award. Basically, I'm going to call it that from now on. Anything such as a remake, a remaster, or a port, basically I see it as redone on a new console, I'm going to give an award for it, just like last year. So last year's winner, if you remember, was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon on DX on the Switch. This year, we have some interesting picks. So first of all, why don't we just get right into the first one that blew me out of the water? Super Mario 3D World. I'm not including Bowser's Fury, which we'll get into later on, but Super Mario 3D World, I never got to play because, as many of you know, I don't have a Wii U, and I got to play it this year. And I got to experiment a little bit with one of my friends who has a Wii U, so I kind of have a bit of an understanding of it, but remember those times playing it on the Wii U compared to now on the Switch? Completely different. It feels like they fine-tuned a lot of things for the port of this, and in general, the game looks crisper, it's a lot more fun. It's not the best 3D Mario out there, but in regards to, like, actual gameplay, it's not the worst, and I really do enjoy it. All things considered. Like, the cat suits are great, the level designs aren't the greatest, but I love the themes, the music's really phenomenal, it looks gorgeous, all things considered. This is an interesting port that I thought was great, and the fine-tuning tweaks that they did to some of the gameplay worked for the most part, I feel like. But this is one of the first ones that I didn't think I would enjoy as much as I did, and it was a really, really good one. Wait, I'm thinking of the wrong one. Oh, it's all good. You're thinking 3D Land, but this was a really good one, all things considered. But, of course, shortly after this game released, there was another port, remaster, whatever you want to call it, it's a controversial opinion at this point, that came out of a childhood game of mine that I was genuinely excited for, and I screamed about so much, and it still feels unreal to have on the Switch. Pokemon Shining Pearl. This is a ground-up sort of remastering, if you want to call it, remake if you talk to the right person, of the original Pokemon and Diamond game. And it's still great. The fine-tuning that they did to some of the battles to make it faster is phenomenal. The game looks gorgeous, all things considered. The upgraded underground segments are addicting, and I see why Sho spent so long first playing the game in the underground. And it brought back so many nostalgic memories, and it's such a phenomenal game to go back and play on the Switch, and it still feels unreal to have. However, there is a double-edged sword to this. And the thing is, would I recommend this to people that have played Pokemon Diamond and Pearl before? No, because it's literally just the same game done twice. And do I think it's worth the full $60? No, but it's still a fun game. And if you really have never played Diamond and Pearl, I genuinely think you will enjoy this. It's a really phenomenal game. Gen 4, with the upgrades that it has, deserves the praise it does now. Before, I would say it's not as great because the battles were slowed down and all that, but this is probably the definitive way to play Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and Gen 4 in general if you don't have Platinum. But in my opinion, is it worth the $60? No, and I'm kind of glad that I got the coupons that I did to get this at $35, because it's more so a $30 to $40 game in my opinion. But it's still a wonderful game, it's still great to play, it's still Diamond and Pearl at its core though, so if you haven't played Diamond and Pearl before, you really will enjoy this. But if you're coming into this expecting some elements of Platinum like they did with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which in my opinion are probably the best remakes Pokemon's ever done, if you're expecting elements of Platinum like they did in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire of Emerald, I would probably curb your expectations. If you're coming into this looking for a straightforward adventure of Diamond and Pearl with that legend, I forget the name off the top of my head, but Ramsasa Park or something like that, with the legendaries, and you're also looking forward to stuff like an upgraded underground, upgraded visuals, and just romping through Diamond and Pearl, this is the one for you, I feel like. And again, it just feels surreal to have this on the Switch, and I'm still excited to play it, and I love playing it still. And even though it's a bit on the easier side because of the EXP share, which is its own controversial thing, which I have my opinion on that maybe both sides of the argument won't like, I still find it to be challenging at times, especially Cynthia. Good fucking god, Cynthia. But it's still a fun game. It really is an amazing, amazing game to bring to the Switch. And I think the team, for what it was worth, did an excellent job. And a bit of like an opinion by me, I think they were a little too scared to implement too many new ideas, because they knew that the company behind this, I think they made Pokemon Home, if I remember correctly. Nintendo didn't make this. I mean, Game Freak didn't make this. Another company made this. I forget the name off the top of my head. But I feel like they were absolutely scared to do too many new ideas, which is why they just did the Underground and the Park of the Legendaries, because they know that this is the childhood to a lot of a lot of, like, not teams, I'm sorry, a lot of people. And they didn't want to fuck it up because they knew how intense the love for this generation is. And for what it was worth, they did an absolutely amazing job, all things considered, visually and porting it over. They did assist development on Yakuza. Oh, okay, the team is pretty small. They didn't make Home. Interesting. Oh, yeah, it's called ILCA. Yes, they did make it. Okay, cool. It is ILCA made this game. And for what it's worth, they did a pretty awesome job. Again, it's a straightforward adventure of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, so if you played it before, don't expect too much. But the battle speed's being improved, and all the other fine-tuning that they did to some of the gameplay, and all around the Underground and some of the other fun little additions that they did add to spice things up, I think it's definitely worth it. Worth $60? No. But worth $30 to $40? Probably. But that brings us into the last one that I want to mention. A game that I think came out for either $30 to $40, if I remember correctly. But honestly, this game is phenomenal, and it's another amazing remake or remaster. Yeah, remake. It's a collection, actually, of several remade games. Super Monkey Ball Mania. This game, I was excited for. I know Scram was excited, and my wife was excited especially for this. I'm not the biggest Monkey Ball fan. I've been getting into it more recently. The first game I ever played was Banana Blitz, so yikes on my part. But this genuinely, after having recently played the original Monkey Ball and Monkey Ball 2 and Deluxe, this game, and the fact that they brought over Monkey Ball 1, 2, and Deluxe, all the levels over, mind you. They brought it all over. So, and they added new physics is the problem. My problem is, what were they going to do with the physics? Because the physics to the GameCube are obviously going to be different to this. How did they do? For the most part, they did really fucking well. This is one of those games where Diamond and Pearl, I sort of paid attention to the time, especially when it came to, like, unfortunately, work. This game right here, I played it the other night just to reintroduce myself and make sure I was confident in putting this up here. I played this at midnight. I blinked after playing a couple levels, and it was already 1:30 in the morning. This is the game you can easily get lost in. And of course, if you played the original games, seeing them redone on Switch graphics is phenomenal. These games look so gorgeous. Playing as the different characters is great, but they also added unlockable characters like Sonic and Tails and Beat. It's just, they got Yakuza representation, which is weird. But I also love it. It's great, and they have so many different customization options. They have, of course, the Monkey Ball mini games, such as, you got, like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. Pool. Pool is the name. I keep forgetting. Pool, Monkey Baseball. You got all your party games that you can play with friends. You got the main story. I will admit, the fact that they did the cutscenes on a TV instead of, like, the 3D graphic type of cutscenes, like in story for Monkey Ball 2, like they did on the GameCube. That's a bit disappointing that it's TV cutscenes instead of, like, the actual cutscenes from the game. A little disappointing, but it doesn't ruin the experience. This is probably the best way to play Monkey Ball, in my opinion, even beating the originals. The physics are a little weird for some levels, like, for example, level 4-6 launchers is pretty bullshit, even more than the original, but in my honest opinion, this is probably one of the best Monkey Ball games I've ever played. This is just basically all of the older levels, remastered. The physics do not take away from anything, and which was my biggest concern. In fact, it actually enhanced the experience. The fact that you could play with so many different characters, so many mini-games, unlock so much, it's just so amazing. And the game itself is gorgeous to look at. The soundtrack is still phenomenal. And also, too, the filters, mind you. You can also play these games. If you buy the original game filter with the points you get from completing levels in the main story, you can play this game like it's the GameCube games, with the original graphics and everything. So, it's phenomenal. And the fact that they brought this back and put so much love into it, and gave fans everything. It's not just a celebration of Monkey Ball's anniversary, I feel like. It's a celebration of Sega, hence the representation of Sonic and Jet Set Radio and Yakuza. It really feels awesome. and I love it so much, and it's a game that I will casually put on and get lost in for hours on end, and still do. Like I said, I was playing it at midnight the other night to get myself reacquainted with it, and I blinked and it was already 1:30 in the morning. It genuinely is a good time all around. There's no physics in Moneyball, but pure chaos, and it's great. Exactly. Okay, with that said, though, we have our 3 candidates for the Redo Dimension Award. We get Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, we get Shining Pearl, and we got Super Mario 3D World. I'll give you guys a second in chat for a dramatic pause to take a guess. Who is the winner of the Redo Dimension Award? Who's going to get it? Who is the best port, remaster, or remake of 2021, in my honest opinion? Of these 3, who's it going to be? Drum roll, please. The winner of your Redo Dimension Award is... Show, I'll kick your fucking ass! Damn you, Show! Damn it, I'm keeping this in. I'm keeping this in the video. Your winner? Super Monkey Ball Mania. You guys guessed it right. You absolutely guessed it. Again, I have so much nostalgia for Pokemon. Obviously, it's one of my favorite series of all time in regards to gaming, but in general, again, if you played Diamond and Pearl, you've played this before. But when it comes to this, if you played the first 3 Monkey Balls, you played them before, obviously, it's the same thing, but they actually did something different. They updated the physics, they updated the graphics too, they updated so much and added so much more than just a cosmetic thing like Shining Pearl. They absolutely nailed it out of the park for celebrating Sega as a whole and Monkey Ball as a whole. They added the characters, of course. All the levels are fantastic still to play, other than launchers, of course. The costumes are phenomenal. The characters are great. The fact that, like, you have the party minigames that are for the most part, still fun to play with friends. All of the different cosmetics, all of the different type of filters you can do. The fact you get, excuse me, you can do so much in this game and get lost for hours, compared to Shining Pearl, where if you've seen the story before, you're just gonna know story beats by heart. I will always love Shining Pearl, and personally speaking, it's one of my favorite games on Switch, even though it's not worth the $60. But in regards to the best remake, remaster, or port of the year, in my opinion, Banana Mania comes out on top. It just did so much right to honor the original games and also added so much more. And if you ask me if this is what the future of Monkey Ball looks like, I'm very, very excited for the future, and I look forward to seeing more Monkey Ball. Just please, for the love of fucking God, no more paid character DLC bullshit. I'm sick of it. Sega, stop. With that said, though, that's your Redo Dimension Award. Yep, Monkey. So, also, too, last year, this is going to be a quick one. I'm not going to do any build-up or anything, but last year I did a DLC of the Year award, which I gave to Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, which was a fucking phenomenal DLC, if I may add. I'm going to do it again this year. My favorite DLC, I'm not even going to waste time. It's the DLC that they added to my Game of the Year last year, Ghost of Tsushima. Having, like, this expansion was phenomenal. Iki Island is gorgeous. All of the absolutely amazing, amazing enemies that they added to make it more challenging and more immersive. This was already my Game of the Year last year, but the fact that this DLC and the enhancement that they gave to Ghost of Tsushima for PS5, all of, like, the interactability is raised to 10. Iki Island is just a joy to play. It's its own little side story, like, own game, honestly, in my opinion, if you play it right. The enemies are all challenging, but it's just so good. I can't praise Ghost of Tsushima enough, and honestly, it's not just my favorite game of 2020, but with the DLC included, I honestly think it's one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. Top 5 even. Ghost of Tsushima is that good, and Iki Island is my DLC of the year, so congrats to that little golf clap. Yay, Ghost of Tsushima. Alright, with that said though, we're on to the meat and potatoes of it all. The Game of the Year candidates. A lot of great games came out this year. I was eating well this year. So before we continue, I do want to mention some honorable mentions that almost made my cut to my final nominations for Game of the Year, but just unfortunately didn't. So let me just go over the honorable mentions really quick. Bravely Default 2. I already loved Bravely Default as it is. This sequel really enhances on so much, and it's just such a good-looking game. A really fun RPG. I absolutely adore everything about Bravely Default 2, just didn't make the cut, unfortunately, because compared to other games on this list, it's just your run-of-the-mill RPG at some points, which I can totally understand, but goddamn if it isn't phenomenal still. Also, too, I'm gonna get killed for this one. Honorable mention that didn't make it. Metroid Dread. Don't get me wrong, I was hyped for this game. I love this game. I totally understand why it's so many people's game of the year, but compared to the final nominations, it just didn't do as much for me. The main gimmick with the EMMIs, as I'm just gonna say it for now, like EMM, like Snoop Dogg type of shit, these guys were a pain in the ass and felt more like an annoyance rather than a threat. And I still love the game, don't get me wrong, but little things like this, obviously on a replay, I may have to go back and, like, maybe my opinion will change. Like I said, I will always change my opinion on a replay, but in my honest opinion, Metroid Dread, some of these things, like smaller nitpicks compared to the rest of the games that made the final cut, just kind of held it back for me. It by the skin of its teeth, it didn't make the final cut for Game of the Year nominations, but let me tell you, this was pretty fucking close, and it deserves all the love that it gets, and I'm so glad that it finally came out. Metroid fans, we're eating well, and we're gonna eat extremely well when Metroid Prime 4 comes out. You better believe it. Sticking with the theme of Switch games, I feel like a lot of you are really gonna be weirded out by my next pick, but as a longtime fan, I had to do it. New Pokemon Snap was almost one of my final candidates for Game of the Year. I was so hyped for the sequel. I love the original, and I will admit it's on the shorter side. It doesn't deserve the $60 price tag it has, obviously, like most Nintendo games do, but this game is such a cozy game, in my opinion. Of course, they added so many different Pokemon. It's gorgeous to look at. They expand on the Pokemon Snap mechanics in so many ways, and the fact that they treat it like a scientific research type of thing along with photography is great. Like, for example, they make you revisit worlds so many times once you level up your research level, because you will find more things that you never noticed before just because you're getting good at photography. You're getting good at knowing the world around you. This kind of organic world building is excellent to me. And again, the variety of Pokemon that they had and the worlds that they used them for was so amazing. And seeing different Pokemon interact with each other in so many ways compared to Pokemon Snap was so great. This was phenomenal. And this is one of my first games that I was like, oh yeah, this is probably going to be in a top Game of the Years type of thing for me. I absolutely love this game. It's definitely the shorter side. I don't believe it's worth the $60, but again, just because I don't believe the price tag is worth it, doesn't make it a bad game. There are games that are $60 I believe should be $30, like this for example, that I still believe to be some top-notch games and some of my favorite games of all time. The price tag does not equal the quality. And again, the length is something that kind of like cuts the price tag for me, but in regards to quality, yeah, this game's got it in boatloads. And you could fight me on it. That's right. I am considering this one of my top games of the year, even though many people will probably put me on a pike for it. This one's a nominee, so we'll skip that for now. Another one. Oh, wait, hold on. It felt more like a remake to me than modern realization of Snap's concept. Pretty decent, though. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Has Eastward been talked about yet? Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry. I think it was the only game that came out this year I actually played, so it wins by default. That's fair. Speaking of games that are pretty decent, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Now, I was excited for this when this came out. And let me tell you, as a launch PS5 game, it does so much right. It makes great advantage of the PS5's technology. It looks gorgeous. The story is pretty fun for all that. And I'm just saying, it's a really fun game. And almost made my Game of the Year nomination. However, much like Pokemon Shining Pearl, at the end of the day, if you take away the PS5 mechanics that they do and all that shit, this still is kind of a run-of-the-mill Ratchet & Clank experience. So if you've played it before, have you played a Ratchet & Clank game before? If you take away the PS5 mechanics, you've probably played this game. And again, that doesn't make it a bad game. I still enjoy the Ratchet & Clank series, but at the end of the day, the mechanics make it definitely boosted up for me. That if you like put this amongst other Ratchet & Clank games by taking away the PS5 games, probably will not be able to tell the difference. It's still a phenomenal game, don't get me wrong, and I'm very happy it makes great use of the PS5, which a lot of the games for the PS5 don't fucking do with pissing me off. It's still a good game. It's still phenomenal. Almost made my Game of the Year candidate, but I can't justify it being on the list. God damn it, Belial. Thank you for the gifted sub to Beagle. Almost made the final cut, but I can't, justify it being on the final nominations compared to what are the final nominations, because it still feels like a run-of-the-mill Ratchet & Clank game. And again, here's the thing. There is one Game of the Year candidate that I feel like you can also say is a standard run-of-the-mill type of game for its series, but we'll get to that when we get there, but this is still a phenomenal game. If you have a PS5, I highly recommend it. It really is a fun time, but if you're a Ratchet & Clank fan, you've probably played this type of experience before without the PS5 mechanics, but what it does right, in my opinion. I know, right? They do. Speaking of really interesting games, this one I thought was going to be a final Game of the Year candidate, but as I continued forward, I really do love it, but I don't feel like I can justify it above everything else. Tales of Arise. This is a really kick-ass RPG. It's gorgeous. It's great. I don't really have too many negatives to say. The only reason it's not in the, the final nominations for Game of the Year candidate is just because the other games were better than it. I really do feel like when I finish this game like 100%, I'm going to have a lot more to say, but again, I don't want to say too much about spoiling it. Really awesome combat, gorgeous world, phenomenal soundtrack. Such a gorgeous soundtrack, all things considered. This is one of the better Tales games I've played in recent years, and might be one of my top 3 favorite Tales games of all time. Really, it's such a great experience, and again, I don't have too many negatives to say for it. It just didn't make the cut because everything else in the final nominations I loved better. With that said, we have 2 more honorable mentions. This one, actually... But what about Bravely Default 2? Yeah, that's an honorable mention. But my other honorable mention, you're gonna get flashbacks to this. Resident Evil Village. This one was a really interesting one. I'm not the biggest Resi fan. I love Resi, but it's not exactly like my top series of all time. I love the Resi games, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't say I'm like diehard for it. Resident Evil Village is a really good game. Is it the best Resident Evil game? No, but in regards to a general game and like great feel, it's pretty good, you know? The first act, I will admit, is a bit top-heavy, and the last acts are sort of iffy, but the first act for what it is phenomenal, and this game is gorgeous. This game has a really interesting atmosphere that I love. I love the Gothic aesthetic in general in regards to Transylvania looks. It is such a gorgeous game. It's a really good game, and honestly, it's not better than Resident Evil 7, but for what it's worth, it's still a good game. It's not scary like shit your pants unless you're like me, Sho, and Connor who shit our pants on stream. But even then, the first act isn't scary once you've seen like the jump scares the first time. It's not scary. It's more tense in a way, if it makes sense. There's a difference between tensity and scary. You know what I mean? It makes you more tense than scared, if anything. So in that regards, it doesn't make it the best Resident Evil game, but I will be damned if I said I didn't have a good time with this. With that said, there is one more honorable mention. It's a digital game, so I don't have the physical copy for it. The only scare I got was from the baby. Thank you, Reaper. But, TJ, I'm sorry. You're in chat. I see you. I'm sorry. But, Eastward is my last honorable mention that almost made it. It is a beautiful pixelated game on the Switch and PC. Really interesting story. Gorgeous, gorgeous graphics. Again, I'm a sucker for anything pixelated. And it does so many things right. The combat is great, but again, it's like Tales of Arise. The only reason it didn't make the final cut in regards to Game of the Year nominations is because the other ones, in my opinion, just elevated the game, in all honesty. Oh yeah, that's another honorable mention. Persona 5 Strikers. Thank you, Sho. Persona 5 Strikers. Another great one. One of the better Dynasty Warrior clones, in my opinion, but back to Eastward. If you really love indie games and love great adventures and an interesting story, I think you're going to love Eastward. I don't want to spoil too much because it really is a great game, all rights considered. But again, compared to the last nominations, I couldn't justify putting it in. But again, maybe with a couple replays, my mind will change. But Eastward is a gorgeous game. Really cheap on Switch. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 things that I have complaints about, especially with sometimes the combat just being like run-of-the-mill. But at the end of the day, I absolutely love Eastward. It lives up to the hype. I've been excited with this since, like, what is it called? The Indie Directs. I remember seeing it for the first time at Indie Directs this year, and I fell in love, and I'm still falling in love with this game. It is phenomenal. Really, play this game. It's so great. I don't want to give too much away for the story, but you will fall in love. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. With that said, we have 3 Game of the Year nominations. The final cut, if you will. There's a lot more honorable mentions that I could have gotten into because, you know, amazing year for me in my opinion. But at the end of the day, these are the honorable mentions that barely just made the cut. Whether it's just the fact that they're amazing, and I don't have much to complain about, but they just couldn't be justified, or there were some things that held them back from being there. We are in the final 3 games that I consider to be my highlights for Game of the Year. And they all span my top 3 favorite genres of all time. So with that said, why don't we start with my favorite genre of all time, RPGs. And let me tell you, this one almost didn't make the cut. I did not think it was going to be a Game of the Year nomination. I thought it was going to be great. And this is the one I mentioned is like, you could make an argument that it's a run-of-the-mill of its series, but I genuinely don't care. It may be, quote-unquote, run-of-the-mill for Shin Megami Tensei series, but I gave it away. Shin Megami Tensei 5. Oh my god. The fact that they got this running on Switch as smoothly as they did, without the Switch exploding, is a feat on itself. On itself. But I really... Hold it closer. Yeah, it's a metal book. I got the metal book cover. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is absolutely phenomenal. Again, it does... The story does play out like another Shin Megami Tensei game, I understand. But I'm not here for the story for the most part. The story's great, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to this game, what defines it, the combat and the music are fucking phenomenal. Oh my god, did RPG fans eat well with this game. If you love Shin Megami Tensei, you're gonna love this game. I absolutely adored everything about this game. The graphics were amazing. The humor felt like snarky Shin Megami Tensei humor. The story was beautiful and kick-ass. The music. Oh my god, the music. The battle theme is phenomenal. And this is a little sort of interesting pick for me. When it comes to music and also like atmosphere in general, I love continuity and like just little details. I love the little detail where you enter a battle and the music doesn't start until you swing first or the enemy swings first. So you're sitting there, there's like a chill to everything. It gives you the feel of the apocalypse even more and a dangerous threat. Awesome gameplay, dark setting world. Exactly. This is exactly that. This is peak JRPG in my opinion. And this is why it's a Game of the Year nominee for me. Final candidate, I should say. Because the story is great, but you're here for the gameplay and the music. And I love the atmosphere that it brings with a post-apocalyptic world. I love the character designs. I love the enemy designs, as always, because, again, they're amazing throughout the entire series. But my favorite detail of all time, a little detail they didn't have to do, was adding tension to battles. You're in a post-apocalyptic world you know nothing about. You got sprung into this world. And I love the fact that early on, they give you the setting of, oh, you enter a battle, here's this tense music. And then, as soon as you swing, it hits. The combat music. If you have heard the combat music, you know what I'm talking about. It's phenomenal, and it makes you feel badass, and it makes you feel like, okay, this is a new chapter to your story. This is it. I'm gonna be the best motherfucker there is. And I love the, obviously, you know, like, the stories, the character interactions, the combat music is amazing. The music in general is amazing. And again, like May pointed out in the chat, this is your standard JRPG classic difficulty, brought back and done right. The gameplay is phenomenal. The turn-based combat is tweaked to the most challenging point. Getting to recruit enemies, which Persona did after Shin Megami Tensei. I want to point that out. Shin Megami Tensei is not Persona. For all you Persona fanboys, I'm watching you. The fact that you can recruit enemies and make them a part of your team, and there's a strategy to it, the strategy with different elemental weaknesses and stats and all that shit, just like any other RPG, it all feels tweaked to near perfection, it feels like. This game is just so fucking good. And like May pointed out too, you played as a femboy. Who does not want to play as a femboy in this game? It is just an amazing JRPG that does combat right. And again, it's like Golden Sun. The story's great, but it's an add-on. You're there for the combat. You're there for literally everything else. And the music and the combat are some of the best, I feel like, this entire year, in my opinion, for RPGs. It is fucking amazing. Please, play this game if you love it. If you love JRPGs, play this fucking game. If you're a Persona fan and want to see where the Persona roots came from in a darker story, play this fucking game. There are some heavy themes, some interesting takes, great characters, amazing combat. Play this fucking game. One of my favorite RPGs this year, hands down, and one of my top 5 favorite JRPGs. There are so many little tweaks to the combat that they do right. And don't worry, it's getting its own review. Why am I putting it? I'll put it there. That brings us into our second Game of the Year nominee, and one of my other favorite genres is platformers, specifically 3D platformers. Yes, it is. Blasphemous. The Golden Sun story is not that good. It's so stereotypical. I'm sorry to deviate from I just saw it in chat, but I'm sorry. It's so stereotypical. Honestly, the characters are so one note. I'm sure Dark Age will do it better, but the combat and the music are where it's at. That's why Golden Sun is more memorable in my opinion. It's a phenomenal game, and the story is still good because it's your run-of-the-mill fantasy game, but it feels like an add-on compared to the gameplay and the music. But it's still a phenomenal game. But moving on though, one of my favorite genres is a 3D platformer. And of course, we ate so fucking well with 3D platformers this year. And no game does it better than Psychonauts 2. You all saw this coming. You knew this was going to be a nominee. We completed it finally yesterday night. We are filming this right now on December 30th. We completed it last night, 29th finally. It was one of the first games I ever completed fully on Twitch. Oh my god. Usually when it comes to crowdfunded games, especially games with delays this fucking long, there's a lot of worry. Is it going to be as good as the original? Is it going to be good as the game as a whole? Is it going to pull a mighty number 9? I'm here to assure you, this game did not pull a mighty number 9. It is phenomenal. Holy fucking shit. I love the original Psychonauts, and I didn't think I was going to love this game even more. Bro. I have never been so heavily invested in a 3D platformer as much as Psychonauts 2. The humor from the first game is still there. It's still cheeky. It reminds me of late 90s Nickelodeon cartoons. It's still phenomenal. The voice acting is top-notch. The story really does some amazing conversations about mental health illnesses and mental health awareness. So beautifully crafted. It also, towards the end of the game, without going into spoilers, really brings up some political conversations. Really well done. They don't cut any roads with it. It is just so fucking good in that aspect. The story's phenomenal. Again, mental health awareness is so important to me, and the fact that this game does it right and doesn't have to do it abruptly. Like, here's the thing. I love games about mental health, but I also love taking creation with it. I love things like Sea of Solitude that take a creative route, because not everything has to be, hey, anxiety, punch you in the face with anxiety themes. It gets to a point where you have to get some sort of border with it. You know, you have to set boundaries with it. You know, you can only ease people into mental health conversations so much. And this game does such a great job at that. Going from gambling addictions to depression to bipolar disorder, not disorder, I shouldn't say, my apologies, to like different things like alcoholism. It basically handles all of these mature conversations so beautifully, I feel like. And the world itself is gorgeous. The characters all have that reminder of Tim Burton-esque movies like Nightmare Before Christmas and a whole bunch of other stuff, but it gives you that Tim Burton-esque type sort of filter to it. It is a gorgeous game to look at. It is so great. The combat, I will admit, for the most part, if you have played any other action game before, it does have that run-of-the-mill kind of gameplay where you're like, oh, look at this, 1-2 hit, that type of thing. But let me tell you, what the combat does right compared to other games, even though standard combat is not what this game is writing home about. Sorry, I'm still a little off topic here, but let me tell you. One of the things that I love about this gameplay, even though the combat is basic in a way, is the fact that they make bosses early on that you fight regular enemies in the game. And I love that progression. I love that character progression. I love the fact that it not only progresses you as a stronger character in combat, but also shows how Raz is growing up as a psychonaut and a person as a whole and learning every step of the way, which is the point of the story. Raz is learning to become a psychonaut. So of course enemies and different mental health thoughts in the form of enemies that you fight are going to be easier to handle because you've handled them before. You know what you're getting into. So stuff like anxiety, you can just slow that down with a time bubble and it's no longer a boss. You can take it on as a regular enemy because you're accustomed to it. You're accustomed to your power-ups. You're stronger now. You're becoming better as a psychonaut. That is the character progression that I absolutely fucking adore. And it doesn't always need... It shows that character progression doesn't always need to be outright. Sometimes it's the subtle things like making your power-ups feel better against what were bosses before, now regular enemies. It's character progression like that is subtle, that is so fucking amazing. But what you're also here for is the platforming. And let me tell you, Psychonauts 2 has some of the most pinpoint, near-perfection platforming I have ever played in a game in my life. And this also goes hand in hand with the different level designs. This game has so many different types of platforming and different types of gameplay things that they throw in for little segments, and, none of it overstays its welcome. There are some that literally, I feel like the ball rolling, for example, rolling around on the ball, it's not my favorite, and it's decent at most. But the game designers also know that it's not what you're here for. You're here for the platforming. They literally show respect to the game by making these segments that could bog it down if it was any longer and keep them short. It's so fucking respectful of that. And they stick to what they know best with the platforming, and the platforming is so great. Any mistakes are my fault for the most part. There are 1 or 2 moments that are bullshit with platforming, as any platformer goes. No game is perfect, I will admit. We all know that. But most of the mistakes that were made were my fault. I have no good depth perception. I get anxious way too quickly, and I get out of order way too quickly and throw myself into chaos. That's my fault. That doesn't take away from the game's design. And the game is near perfection. And the fact you can use different power-ups like levitation and all this other stuff to help with platforming and make your life easier is phenomenal. It's so great, and it goes hand in hand with the level design and with so many creative themes. You go from a psychedelic late 60s, early 70s world with a rock concert and bright colors to like a mailroom that looks like it's post-apocalyptic 1984. It was perfection. It was so varied. Story was amazing. It did everything right, and this is the closest I feel like to a near-perfect game as it can get. This is one of my favorite games of all time, no doubt. It is fucking phenomenal. I love it so much. And honestly, other than the pop-ups with graphics and the long loading times, which is probably because I'm on an Xbox One and not like a PC or an Xbox Series X, I'm going to chalk it up to that. But in all honesty, other than those small nitpicks, there's not much I can complain about. Obviously, if I replay the game, maybe I find 1 or 2 more things that I can complain about, but Psychonauts 2 does everything right. And I wasn't expecting it to be like my game of the year. I thought it was just going to be an amazing game. It did so much more. And I thought it was going to be my game of the year, clear cut. But there is one more game that is going to take the game of the year title possibly. And it did it to May. It might do it to me. Guardians of the Galaxy. Wow. I will admit, I was one of the people, like a majority of other people, that was worried about this game. I was hyped, and then I was worried the more we saw gameplay. Yeah, the trailers didn't do this justice. The trailers did not do this justice at all. Oh my god. This is not an open world game. I'm going to give you that right now. It's a straightforward game through the story. But this also shows, and this game proves it specifically, this game shows you don't need an open world to be a Game of the Year candidate. This is one of the most straightforward games I feel like you can have. You literally go from world to world with your team, complete objectives, walk down halls and other worlds, and then you're there. But you know what they do right? You know what other games like Final Fantasy 13 don't do right with quote-unquote singular path style gameplay? They don't give an amazing story. They don't do the combat justice. They don't get creative with their worlds. Guardians of the Galaxy is absolutely fucking phenomenal. When I thought it was going to be mediocre at best. The worlds are gorgeous on the PS5. The gameplay is phenomenal. Yeah, you have like standard shooter with Star-Lord, but the fact that you can command your team with strategic points, like you can have Groot tie up a bunch of enemies and tag team, the gameplay is so pinpoint, and it ties in perfectly with the persona that is Guardians of the motherfucking Galaxy. It just is, it's so fucking good and mind-blowing how the trailers didn't do any of this justice. What the fuck, dude? And also, too, one of my favorite aspects of the gameplay is the huddle up. Literally, at certain points, you can huddle up with your team, and based on it, how you answer their sentences, you can literally power up your team or just yourself and kick some serious ass to some 80s themed soundtrack, which we'll get to in a second. But that's another thing I love about this game. It's not just that the gameplay is phenomenal and works well. It's the fact that this game literally is Guardians of the Galaxy, and not just Guardians of the Galaxy with an action-adventure game underneath, run-of-the-mill type like Avengers thing. Like, literally, Avengers had the problem where it was a boring action-adventure game with an adventure skin. Guardians of the Galaxy feels like an action-adventure game with more than just a Guardian skin. The developers knew what to do when they were coming into this. I love the chemistry between this team. I love the dialogue, constantly talking with your team. You can choose dialogue throughout the game, no matter what moment, and choose how to affect the situation, and also the chemistry of your team, which is great for this game. The humor is top-notch. I love each of them so fucking much. Gamora, Groot, Drax, Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord. Controversial opinion, by the way, This Star-Lord, way better than Chris Pratt's Star-Lord. I have way more appreciation for Guardians of the Galaxy now after playing this game. Oh my fucking god. The character interactions are always top-notch. There's never a boring moment between these teams or the NPCs and people that they meet along the way. The humor is top-notch. The world design is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. They knew that if they weren't going to use the entire world, they were at least going to make it a good looker. And they absolutely made it so gorgeous. Right away from the get-go, the quarantine zone in this game, the first area that you're in, is top fucking notch. Holy shit. This game is phenomenal. The combat is great and intense, and you truly do feel like you're getting stronger and you're learning more about Star-Lord. And the soundtrack. The soundtrack. Let alone the fact that there are 80 songs in here. So for example, after the huddle up, when you're talking to your team, if you power your entire team up, one of the 80 songs is going to play. Literally, you can beat aliens' asses to holding out for a hero or never going to give you up. You can rickroll aliens. Can you do that in any other game? No. And it's so fucking kick-ass. It's so good. Oh my god, the soundtrack is beautiful. And the band that they made for this, the band Star-Lord, they actually named it Star-Lord, which is pretty fucking cool. That band, I unironically have it on my Spotify. And actually, one of the composers saw my tweet because he was like, I'm glad you love it. The band is so fucking good. The selection of 80 songs encapsulates what I feel like is Guardians of the Galaxy and Star-Lord perfectly. The story is so emotionally driven at times, but still also keeps to that goofy Guardians of the Galaxy feel. This game was a surprise hit. I did not expect this to be a Game of the Year candidate. I thought it was going to be mediocre at worst and pretty good at best. They did everything right. And they showed that non-open world games have so much to offer. I don't care what anyone says. Don't let anyone tell you that you need an open world to be great. You can do everything like Guardians of the Galaxy can, and then some. I did not expect this to be a Game of the Year candidate. And it is so up there. Literally, I completed this game in almost 2 days. I never, ever stopped playing. I lost track of time of this game. And I am so glad that I did. This was amazing. And also, it's part of the reason I'm listening to 80s music a bit more. I mean, I listen to 80s music all the time. I love that era, but I've listened to Holding Out for a Hero maybe 5 times a day. So, thank you, Guardians of the Galaxy, for that. It's a beautiful game. Really. I need to do this. I need to do a review of all of these games, especially Guardians. Maybe I'll do a video essay on how trailers don't do any justice anymore, whether it's movies or video games. Because this, right here, is worth every penny. I literally cannot do this justice rambling on about it without a script. I need to do a review on this. I need to do a review on all these games. Because me rambling so that way I don't lose track of time doesn't do it justice. Literally, play this fucking game. It does so much right. It's such a great game, a surprise hit, and literally it has gotten to the point where it's trying to usurp the other 2 games for my Game of the Year candidate. But, going back to them, those are your 3. Shin Megami Tensei, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Psychonauts 2. These are my 3 final candidates that were, in my opinion, the pinnacle of 2021. Some of these were expected to be good, others I was excited by, and others just blew me out of the fucking water. Now, I want you guys to vote in the Twitch down below, in the Twitch chat. I'll give it a dramatic pause as well for YouTube. What do you think? What's going to be my Game of the Year for 2021? Is it Shin Megami Tensei 5, Guardians of the Galaxy, or Psychonauts 2? Which game defined 2021 as an amazing Game of the Year? We got some good picks. Guardians, Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2, another good guess. That's not a Game Reaper, but good job. Guardians. Okay, Wheezy said Guardians. Alright, I'll give it another second. You are not Gruor, but good try. Oh boy. Okay, we got okay, voting's closed. Are we ready? What was it? What was my Game of the Year? Well, I can tell you right out the gates, Shin Megami Tensei is not the one. So it comes down to Guardians of the Galaxy and Psychonauts 2. Who won Benson from the Game Dimensions Game of the Year? Who wins it? Guardians of the Galaxy. Is a phenomenal game, but it cannot beat Psychonauts 2. I am sorry. It is such a close fucking game. Such a close competition. But Psychonauts 2 is my game of the year for 2021. Literally, Guardians of the Galaxy was fucking by a hair. By a fucking hair. By a hair. Guardians of the Galaxy almost beat Psychonauts 2. Both are amazing in their own fucking right and are easily some of the best in their own categories. But, oh my god. Psychonauts 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy. I almost chickened out and did a tie between Game of the Year because I really did go back and forth, but after completing both of these games so quickly, yeah, I'm gonna admit, Psychonauts 2 hit so many things right. Really. I almost said both because it's so hard to pick. And maybe down the line I will change my answer depending on the replays, but as of right now, Psychonauts 2 is my game of the year. It's just, how do you pick though? What an amazing year. And again, I can't say it enough. Psychonauts 2 and Guardians especially, please for the love of God, go fucking play these games. There are so many small things between these two games that I don't like, but those small nitpicks that I have with both games don't matter. Because what they do and what they're setting out to do, they do right and then some. Especially Psychonauts 2. It basically just put 3D platformers way on the map more than Ratchet and Clank could ever do. Psychonauts 2 is amazing. Tim, Double Fine, if you're watching this, which you probably won't, you guys did absolutely fucking amazing. And to the team over at Square Enix and Eidos Montreal, you guys did amazing too. You both are fucking phenomenal. Please, for the love of God, play these games. Especially Guardians of the Galaxy and Psychonauts 2. I really, really had a hard time picking. It was not easy at all. Literally by a hair. At least last year with Ghost of Tsushima, I had a clear-cut answer of, oh yeah, this is my game of the year afterwards. But let me tell you, it was hard this year. I just can't. I cannot believe I forced myself to pick. I cannot believe I picked, but Psychonauts 2 is my game of the year. It just did so much right. It was a magical ride, and it's so perfect in so many ways, but also so is Guardians. So again, play them both. Literally, just by a hair, one of them won. It was amazing, and this was an amazing year in my opinion. Also worth mentioning that Eidos and Double Fine both avoided crunch. Yes, that too. They both avoided crunch and still made these phenomenal games. Check them out. For the love of God, check both of these games out. These studios have every right to be nominated for what they were and have every right to be proud in what they've accomplished. It's amazing. Really, well fucking done, Double Fine and Eidos Montreal. Alright, with that said though, it's finally time, ladies and gentlemen. The final part of this year's wrap-up for 2021. We have question time, the Q&A. You guys decided and picked so much. You guys had so many fucking questions, actually. Holy shit. I didn't expect this many questions. You doubled the number last year, I believe. That was fucking phenomenal. You still gotta try Blue Fire? I do have to try Blue Fire. The fact that this year is so amazing that I haven't played games that are still phenomenal, I still have to do it. I have to. I promise. I will get to it. But with that being said, let's go down the Q&A. I'm just going to go on the ones on Discord first and then get the ones on Twitter, and then we will wrap this video up. I did not expect this wrap-up to be as long as it is, but thank you guys so much for staying as long. It really was fun doing this. I hope this was a success. But let's do some Q&As. Let's do it. So first up, let's go on Discord and go through all the questions on there. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, first question right out the gates. Shroob Invader asks, when will you play Bubsy again? Well, to tell you the truth, if I could help it, never. But I did promise you people after the last Bubsy stream that if I reach 1,000 followers on Twitch, I will play it. With that being said, I also promised Jin that I would, at 1,000 followers, I would also play it in a maid outfit. So if you can, for the love of God, don't get me to 1,000 followers, and then we will never see Bubsy again. No, not right now. Not right now. No. No. My service is poop, but K-Dye! Oh my god, wait! We're gonna pause for a second. Can I get a shout out for K-Dye? Oh my god, I love you! You beautiful man. Holy shit, you came at a perfect time. Yes, thank you. I missed you, buddy. Hello. I'm sorry your service is such poop. But welcome. We're just doing a wrap-up / Q&A that people ask me. Okay. K-Dye is an amazing You were just playing Skyrim. That's amazing. So, for those of you that don't know K-Dye, he is an absolutely amazing guy, amazing rapper, amazing musician in general, amazing person, greatest person ever, hands down, double S rank person. You will love him. Please go give him some love and follow, and also check out his music label with some friends that he does, Midnight Sun Music. It should be on Spotify. I'll send the playlist under the music chat in my Discord so you can check it out. They do some amazing music. You absolutely love it. Okay, continuing on though. Oh, here we go. TJ, aka Rasputin, asks, how does a man like you get so handsome? What's your secret? Well, here's the thing. I don't think I'm beautiful. What I basically do is I wake up, I scream in the mirror, have my existential crisis, and then I go about my day. That's my secret to apparently looking beautiful. If I wasn't a hot mess, then I probably would not look beautiful, but, you know, it is what it is. Your second question, though, you also have a question. Also your thoughts on RPGs versus multiplayer games. Can multiplayer games have a good story, and can RPGs cater to a wider audience? Absolutely yes. I have heard of some, this is more of like an MMO, but it's still a multiplayer game, technically. MMORPGs. I have heard amazing stories about Final Fantasy XIV. I've watched some cutscenes because I've been interested. Beautiful stories. You really can do an interesting story. And also Destiny 2. The first Destiny did not do it to the lore justice, but Destiny 2 absolutely has a great story and amazing world. Now, on the flip side of things, RPGs, on the other hand, you can absolutely cater to a wider audience. Golden Sun, for example. You could have the most bare-bones story like Golden Sun does and just have your basic stuff. So, for example, with fantasy and RPG games, you have your elemental stones and your damsel in distress and your heroes and all that shit. You could have a story like that, but but it's your combat. RPGs are all about combat. The story, for the most part, can come secondhand. If you have an amazing... my acid reflux. If you have an amazing story, that makes it even better, you know? But people are there for RPGs for the world and the combat. And in my opinion, Golden Sun is the perfect beginner step for being an RPG fan. The combat is interesting. It does enough to spice up the turn-based combat that used to be called slow and boring before. It's a really awesome example of how RPGs can cater to a wider audience in combat and story, just like Destiny 2 can cater to a multiplayer audience looking for a good story. And again, I know one of the examples I used was an MMORPG in Final Fantasy XIV, but if you want an actual concrete example of a multiplayer game that does story and world building done right, Destiny 2 is where it's at. Wait, I couldn't stay in long. I'll pop back in if you're still going on my next break. Stay frosty. Thank you so much, Kate. I love you, buddy. Stay frosty. Have a good one. Good luck with work. Get some good stuff. Get that break, buddy. You earn it. You earn that break like you always do, you beautiful man. But let's keep continuing. So yeah, like I said, RPGs can cater to a wider audience because RPGs, in my opinion, they focus a lot on combat. And there are some systems that, if you're not an RPG fan, you're going to be extremely confused or frustrated by. So I like the idea that there are RPGs like Golden Sun that can welcome people in and add just enough spice to put it above the rest. So yes, in my opinion, if you do a game right, for multiplayer with good story or an RPG that caters to a wider audience, you get things like Destiny 2, Final Fantasy XIV, and Golden Sun. And Pokemon, for that matter. Pokemon is another example of RPGs catering to a wider audience. If you want an action RPG too, because there's different subgenres of RPGs, we'll go over that another time. If you want an action RPG that caters to a wider audience perfectly, Final Fantasy XIV. Beautiful story, beautiful open world, and a great combat system that you can easily get into, just like Kingdom Hearts. So those are great examples of how multiplayer games can have a good story, and RPGs can cater to a wider audience, especially with its combat. Story, I wouldn't recommend to Kingdom Hearts, though, if you're trying to just play the main 3 games. There are some RPG stories that you just cannot touch and come out going, what the fuck with. All right, here we go. What's the next question on the list? How do I ask a question, asks Luigi. Well, it's simple, really. You take a simple statement, such as, I want to ask a question, and make it an inquiry. You're curious about something. You take your curiosity and you form it not as a statement, not as a fact, but something that may have an answer at the end. So, for example, how do I feel about Golden Sun? Instead of saying, I know how I feel about Golden Sun, I want to inquire about it. I want to look deep inside and just be like, how do I feel about Golden Sun? You're asking a question to get an answer. A statement already has an answer at the end that you know of. A question is basically, you want to know something that isn't known yet, and then you take it in. Also, you just asked a question, so there you go. That's how you ask a question. Okay, Better Benson asks, why are you so cute? I'm not. But thank you. I don't know why, but I guess there's a reason. Maybe someone can make a top 10 reasons why Benson's cute video. Please don't actually do that. Or I guess, what game solidified your love of gaming? Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so I'm just going to say it outright. Pokemon is one of my favorite series of all time, and beforehand I used to game a little bit as a kid on a PS2 and an N64, but nothing solidified my love for gaming more than Pokemon Fire Red on GBA. It really did so much for me, and it's the reason I'm a gamer today. And that's the reason why I love RPGs too. Pokemon was a perfect segue into RPGs, because it's literally just baby's first RPG. It's the basics, you know? But Fire Red, I just remember opening up my Game Boy Advance, turning it on, and being hit with those opening trumpet notes to the main Pokemon title screen that we know and love in so many different varieties today. And I remember Professor Oak greeting me and basically making the game feel personalized. As a kid, we always want to talk to people, I feel like. And as a kid, we want to feel like immersed in something. With other games that I played, it was just, jump right into action, fight this, fight that. With Pokemon, it welcomed me in. It immersed me in so many ways and made me feel like I was actually in the world instead of just thrust in and fighting. It welcomed me. It let me choose my first starter. It gave me choices. It let me be me, who I want to be. And it was just an amazing experience as a kid who was bullied all the time in like first grade, second grade, third grade. Most of my school career, actually. But, it solidified my love for gaming just because it showed me that video games and entertainment as a whole, for that matter, cannot just be, a popcorn flick where you just enjoy it for a little bit and never think of it again. They can be something immersive and magical, and something that you always will think about and hold dearly to your heart, even when you're done playing it or watching it. So, Pokemon Fire Red did that for me, and it's the reason why I'm a gamer and I do all this today. So, I have Pokemon Fire Red to thank for my love for gaming, and also thank for getting me into content like I am today. It really did so much for me, and it solidified my love for gaming in so many ways. I was a Pokemon freak for the longest time. I mean, I still am, but, Also, how'd you get such an amazing girlfriend? She's great. Well, if we want to ask that question on how I got my girlfriend, there's this thing. Let's go all the way back, sophomore year of high school. No, actually, no, even further than that. Middle school, started having a crush on this girl. She started dating losers. I didn't like them. I tried to move on with my life. I couldn't stop thinking about her, though. We were best friends for the longest time, and we never let things get awkward. And we were such great friends. I waited for the longest time. She skip carded me during sophomore year of high school, and then senior year we ended up dating. So here we are. That's your spark notes on the Benson and Better Benson relationship. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. Brian, aka Wheezy Cake, asks, why you dumb? I don't know, why can't you speak properly? But, no, why am I dumb? I'm a gamer. Legally obliged to be dumb if I'm a hardcore gamer. That's the law. That is literally Newton's law for gamers, as I will put it. Okay, here we go. Ryoko, what made you want to try and create a story or relationship with these other U's to us as you incorporate them in your reviews? Okay, I try not to look at all the questions just so that way I can go in with a fresh answer if I can. But, here's the thing. I've been thinking about this question for a while, and I don't want it to sound like I have multiple personality disorder, which I don't, or bipolar disorder. But the thing with me is, for a lot of my life, especially with the mental health stuff now that we're being transparent about it, just like video games are escape, acting is an escape for me. So if I could be anyone but me since I don't like me, I absolutely will. and which is why I did the duking stream, and I have Radical Benson and all these other me's. They kind of feel like a part of me in a way. A part of me I feel like I don't get to express often. Duking is the theatrical side of me, I feel like. Radical Benson is more so like the goofy, weird person that everyone loves, you know? These are all different parts of me that I like to get lost in for a little bit with acting. Because acting is also an escape for me, which is why I do these Game Dimension reviews. Because I also love acting as much as script writing or content creating as a whole. It really does feel like I can ease my way into these characters and be someone else for a while. Not me. It's a dark answer, I know, but at the same time, I want to incorporate all of me. So all of these parts of me aren't just an escape, it's a way for me to sort of storytell without having to be me, you know what I mean? I can incorporate different parts of me by not having to just be me the entire fucking time. So, I don't know. It's a weird answer. I still don't know the entire thing. Again, I've been trying to think about this answer. I don't have a really concrete answer, but it's a bit of, you know, I love acting and I love escapism, and I just love the fact that I could storytell different sides of me that I feel like I don't get to show often without having to be me, if it makes sense. Basically, I'm Kingdom Hearting this, okay? I get to be Xehanort without having to be Xehanort, okay? That's basically where I'm going with this. All you Kingdom Hearts fans out there know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. That's exactly the best way I can describe it, I feel like. Okay. I keep losing track. It keeps going down. Another one. How many Bensons are in the Game Dimension world? So far right now, I have Radical Benson, Benson from Bullshit and Craftery, which he will be making a return, mind you, the more we review Paper Mario games, and I don't have too many at this point. How many do I want to do, though? So, 2 concrete that I can think of, honestly. Someone that Carney Benson, that's a 3rd one, you know, from Golden Sun. He'll be back as well. But what's another one? How many do I want to do in It's easier to say. Right now there's 3. But how many do I want to do, actually, in the Game Dimension? As many as I can do, honestly. I have 3 concrete right now. Hey, welcome, Cheeseworm. Glad you can make it. But I have 3 Bensons right now in the Game Dimension world. But in regards to the multiverse, honestly, there's an infinite amount of Bensons. How many will be shown on the Game Dimension? Well, that depends on what games I review and what ideas I come up with. So, we'll see how it goes, you know? Oh, here we go. Speaking of Cheeseworm, here's your question. Do you agree that gin and tonic is the superior way to consume alcohol? I don't consume alcohol much. It's not that I'm against it. It's just I don't, personally speaking, drink alcohol. I just don't like the taste as much. It burns my stomach, I feel like. So, again, I have nothing against alcohol, and I'll definitely drink some every once in a while. But gin and tonic, I definitely like it. I really love gin and tonic. That's some good shit right there, honestly. One of my other ways I do, I got this from my dad, actually, is I drink Captain Morgan's rum with Pepsi. That's some good shit right there, honestly. Let's see. Connor. Oh, Connor's got a question here, too. If you could have any internet video game reviewer guest star in the Game Dimension, who would it be and why? Well, let me tell you about this famous guy known as Fusefall. No, I'm kidding. Fusefall definitely will be on there, that's for sure. But famous video game reviewer. See, one of my favorite ones I want to do, I want to give like answers like PBG or Scott the Woz or AVGN. Those are great, and they're all, and like I mentioned last year during my wrap up, those are my inspirations. But I feel like I can't okay, in regards to famous, I would absolutely say Scott the Woz, AVGN, PBG, Cat Icarus, one of those guys. I feel like I'd vibe with them really well. In regards to like, in general though, I feel like is a better answer for me. There's a couple that I would absolutely love to like collaborate with, and they're actually some of my friends or people that I've started to talk to. Miss Bubbles actually is one I would absolutely love to collaborate with. She's a sweetheart, and she reviews indie games, which is something I want to review a whole bunch more. She's great for like Switch games and PC especially. You guys would absolutely love her. Please subscribe. Miss Bubbles would be a good one. Lambhoot is like someone I would absolutely love to do a video essay with, you know, all things considered. He's really interesting, and he's part of the reason I wanted to do more video essays, I feel like. So, to give you an answer, Cat Icarus, Scott, AVGN, and PBG would be my famous internet video game reviewers, but in regards to, like, the general scope, I would much rather at first want to collaborate with, like, Miss Bubbles or Lambhoot. Nothing against my inspirations, of course, but I just feel like, as a whole, given these guys sort of understand my reviews and like just in general how to do reviews and video essays, I feel like I'd vibe better with them at first. And also too, I would much rather collaborate with smaller people first than famous. So if somehow, Lord forbid, I do get famous and PBG, Scott, or AVGN ask me to review with them, you know I'm going to say yes. But Lambhoot and Miss Bubbles in general, I would love to collaborate with. They're amazing people too. I've started talking with Miss Bubbles especially. What a total sweetheart. Lambhoot's a really fucking guy too. Really good guy. You would love him. Okay, Shroob Invader has another one. Okay, I have a good question this time. What was your favorite Flatmates episode to record and your favorite to watch? If you're wondering, my favorite to watch is the tier list, and favorite to record, well, honestly, they get more and more fun to record. Ooh, this is a good question. So for those of you that don't know, I do a Mario RPG podcast with George Mario Nerd and Shroob Invader on George's channel called Flatmates. We've been doing this for almost a year, I think, at this point. It's really fun, all things considered. I'm going to agree with you, though, Shroob. My favorite actual episode to watch is the tier lists. I love just like the chaotic nature of like your idea that you gave by making us do tier lists of enemy bosses. And I also love the fact that, you know, we got to challenge ourselves. For the most part, we've been talking about general things like stories and games themselves, but we actually had to present a defensive case for why we feel this way about these bosses. And let me tell you, it was so fucking fun. Especially George, like, again, I love George, but seeing him out of his element trying to explain and remember these bosses is so funny, and it makes for great fucking content. And of course, there's me and you, Shrew, basically going, oh, who did you put here? I put this person here. What the fuck? Why? Well, here are the reasons. Okay, that's fair. Because we've done this before. You and I do this before, Shrew, so it's not out of the question for us, but it was just fun and chaotic and a nice little change of pace for us. Favorite one to record? I gotta say, when we were, like, redesigning the story for Paper Jam, like Paper Mario Paper Jam, that's probably my favorite to record, just because I'm a storyteller, and I know you're more of a gameplay person, so the fact we got to design the story again, and maybe just design the game as a whole, it kind of builds into, like, my light core dream of ever game design, like, being a game designer myself, you know? Whether it's storytelling or helping with world building. We got to, like, remake Paper Jam how we see fit, and how we think Paper Jam would be, you know? So it felt like a really cool episode for us to flex our creative muscles and just go off branch. So instead of talking like concrete games that have already been, we got to challenge ourselves with creativity, and I'm really glad with some of the ideas that we came up with, because let me tell you, it's not often I get to flex my creative muscles, and in all honesty, I will do it again. I would love to do it again. I've been on a writer's block for my novels that I've been writing for ages, and I would absolutely love to do it again. All right, let me see. Salmon asks, what was the craziest adventure you went on either in real life or in D&D? Ooh, okay. This is a good one. Okay. I think the craziest adventure that we went on in D&D is the Wrath of Storm King's Thunder module. We were doing that, and usually, like, we were just doing our thing in the party. We were trying to figure out who was the traitor and all that shit. And somehow we ended up on a beach, and one of our, like, the fellow players ended up turning seaweed into an actual seaweed person. Like, they took a bunch of seaweed and morphed him into an actual living, breathing person that became a part of our party with seaweed. I wish we finished that campaign, but we took this basic module of Wrath of Storm King's Thunder and turned it fucking chaotic. We actually fought so many different peoples. We made friends with like an amazing sky giant. We got like this Kelp, I forgot his name, but like I'm gonna call him Kelpie. We had him in the party just out of fucking nowhere. It was a really chaotic adventure that I absolutely love. In regards to in real life adventures, going to Portsmouth with my wife, going up and seeing our favorite shows was one of the craziest things we did, just because we've never been to like out on a vacation before. We've never had the time or the money, but we got to take a weekend to ourselves, and it was absolutely crazy and phenomenal. I mean, nothing too crazy happened. We went to see a play, we ate out a little bit, and we just chilled, but it was still pretty fun, all things considered. Why did you decide to start streaming on Twitch, Dulce asks. So, originally, I didn't really pay much attention to streaming. It was actually because of Show and so many other people that I started, because I got to watch them, and seeing all of their stuff, it was just so much fun. And with New School Arcade sort of on a break, it felt like a nice way for me to continue something that I always want to do better at. Ad-lib acting. And of course, getting better at keeping a conversation. In general, for that matter, because I'm a very fucking awkward person, as you can tell. But I started streaming because of my friends and peer pressure and all that fun stuff. So it was just a nice adventure, and I was like, oh, I want to do this. I want to be there and hang with my friends, and I liked hanging out with my friends anyways, so why don't we, chronicle our adventures on streams and do goofy things together? And again, with New School Arcade sort of on hold because of the quarantining and all this other shit going on in our lives, I figured it was a nice way to bring us all together without having to record or edit and all that stuff. And personally for me, it also helps me go through my backlog that I may not be able to review at first, but just want to get done, including current games. I really don't think I would have put Psychonauts 2 up as a Game of the Year candidate if I didn't get to play it on stream first, just because I don't have the time, unfortunately. But now with streaming and all this other shit, not only can I play games on my backlog and catch up with current games, I also made some wonderful friends along the way. And that's also another part of why I started streaming, is because I made some amazing friends just like I did on YouTube. And I am so happy that I got to do streaming, and I'm so glad they pressured me to do it back in March instead of fucking summer. So it was a good time for me. Ice Cube. So yeah, I started streaming to make friends and get through my gaming backlog, and also challenge myself to get better at ad-lib acting and filling in dead space, if that's a good answer for you. What is your favorite video game soundtrack? Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 is my favorite video game soundtrack of all time. I would have probably put Pokemon Generation 5, Black and White, and Black and White 2, but Kingdom Hearts 3. Woo! That soundtrack is fucking amazing. Especially one of the final battle and the battle before that, where you face a whole bunch of, not spoiling it here, not spoiling it for those of you that haven't played Kingdom Hearts. I fucking love it, okay? They remastered some of the themes, like Mount Olympus, for example. They did this brilliant thing that showed that you could take previous themes and combine them together into something amazing. Like, for example, fighting some of the Xehanort clones, I won't say which, but fighting them and hearing their themes together after hearing them separately in different games throughout, one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. One of my favorite tracks of all time, for that matter. It's so fucking good. It is such a good theme. The final battle theme is perfect. It sets up really awesome atmosphere. I love RPG soundtracks as a whole, but Kingdom Hearts 3 hits so many notes right that other games do not. And I probably would have said Black and White, especially for Pokemon, as my favorite soundtrack before, because of the Elite Four theme specifically, but Kingdom Hearts 3 has some amazing overworld soundtracks, combat music, everything in general. They took the orchestra and just skyrocketed that shit. It is so fucking good, and one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Honorable mentions go to Pokemon Black and White, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy 15, Guardians of the Galaxy, Psychonauts 2, and Spiritfarer. Okay, Banished Benson, is this? Yep, it's Fuse. So Fuse has some questions. Worst game you played this year? Skatebird. Favorite movie of the year? Spider-Man. Absolutely Spider-Man. Listen, okay. There have been some amazing movies this year. I've said it before. I love Spider-Man No Way Home. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. It is probably one of my favorite... It's my favorite live-action Spider-Man. And when I get the chance to re-watch this a couple times along with Spider-Verse, it may usurp Spider-Verse as my favorite Spider-Man movie ever. They fucking did so well. And again, things like Ridley Scott, The Last Duel, and Ghostbusters Afterlife came out, and they were all amazing movies. This year was so great for movies after a lackluster year last year, I feel like. But Spider-Man, it feels weird to put a Marvel movie as my favorite movie of the year. I try not to do that, because they aren't always the greatest. But this one doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. It feels like a Marvel movie second, a Spider-Man movie first. And not just that, they tied together so many loose ends with not just this one, but other movies in the Marvel universe and so on. It ties so many things together so fucking well, even though some of the plot points are some of the worst kept secrets of the entire universe, and we all know it. Like, this movie tied up so much so well for Peter Parker, and I'm so excited for the future and to see what comes next. They did this justice. They showed better character progression than some regular movies that came out this year, and it is easily one of my top 10 favorite movies ever. Probably top 5, now that I think about it, but Spider-Man No Way Home is my favorite movie of the year. It was fucking phenomenal. And of course, Fuse, thank you again for getting the tickets. Fuse actually got me tickets to it so that way we can go see it together as a birthday gift, but easily one of my favorite movies. Oh my god, it was so fucking good. Ratio? You just ratio me on my own fucking stream? You asshole. Does Radical Benson enjoy We Love Golf? I don't know. Is that something we want? Do we want Radical Benson to like review We Love Golf? Let me know in the comments down below. Do we want Radical Benson to have his own mini review of We Love Golf? I feel like that'd be interesting. I don't know. Most anticipated game of 2022. Ooh, okay. I gotta look at the list again. And future me, when I'm doing like the small edits and adding music, if I change my mind, please put the title here at some point. Radical Benson to do his own reviews. Oh god. Right now, I would have said Elden Ring, but right now, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Yeah, Luigi just said it. Kirby is one of my hype games of 2022. I'm a huge Kirby fan. It looks so fucking good. I'm so excited. I'm ready for it to come out in March. I'm ready for it to be March already. For the love of God, this game looks good. Yes, I'm putting it above Elden Ring. Fight me over it. I'm so fucking excited. Actually, wait. There's a tie. There's a tie for my most anticipated game of 2022. The second one, I'm gonna say I'm skeptical and scared of, but I'm still hyped. Kirby and the Forgotten Land and Pokemon Legends Arceus. I am so fucking excited for Arceus. I hope it's the step that Pokemon needs, that they keep promising. I'm so excited. I'm still scared, and the fact that it's a month away scares me even more. I don't think I'm ready for this game. We might stream it together, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Nintendo is like feeding us well next year. Hopefully with Breath of the Wild 2, Kirby, and whatever else they're doing. But Pokemon and Kirby are my most anticipated games of 2022. Elden Ring is a close second, and maybe I'll put a few more that I'm excited for, like here on the title screen. Who knows? But there's a lot that I'm excited for next year. A Yick review? Yick review, you say? Sorry, I'm not the one that just got 280 subscribers before the end of the year, Fuse. Where's my Yick review? You promised. What's your most disliked game of all time? I gotta... Ooh. This is a good one. It's easier to say that I love games. It's harder for me to say what's my most disliked. I gotta... This is tough. It's not Skatebird. I think my most... Actually, no. What am I doing? Bubsy. Fuck you, Bubsy. Fuck you. No way in hell. Bubsy is one of my most disliked games of all time. Specifically the one y'all had me play for PS4. Fuck you, Bubsy. What an asshole. Would going from... Oh, wait. Here's Shogunized questions I should probably... Here we go. Bubsy slaps. What do you mean? Stop. I don't want this Bubsy hype talk in my chat. Okay, here we go. Shogun the Leaders questions. You got a lot of questions last second. Let me fucking tell you. First question. I got a sneeze coming on. Hold on. Okay, here we go. It's gone. Would going from gamer to developer interest you? What kind of game would you like to make, if any? I'm gonna hold off on that second part of the question because another person asked that kind of question later on, and I'm gonna get into that. But to answer your first question, would going from gamer to developer interest me? I absolutely would say I would love to do that. Whether I'm a part of the story building process or the actual development or, you know, anything for that matter, I would love to be a game developer. I feel like there's so many things that I could do, and I feel like I could absolutely challenge myself in story building and world building through video games. Filmmaking, I could show for sure. I could show the world and everything, and then people will be like, wow, this is great. It's harder to world build in video games because you have to make a great world and story that people interact with and are interested throughout. And honestly, for a while, I did want to become a game developer, but I absolutely would love to be a developer and not just a gamer. Maybe even a game tester for that matter. It's just... I just feel like being a game developer would be an interesting thing. And if somehow down the line, this leads me to be a game tester or a developer in some shape or form for something, maybe I'll do it, you know? I would love to be a game developer, it feels like. It'd be perfect, honestly. And I now have an excuse to say, wow, this game is bad, or I'm bad at the game, instead of just being a gamer. Who has been the most influential in creating the kind of content you are today? Let's see. I think I mentioned earlier, and I mentioned it last year, I believe, but Scott the Woz, Peanut Butter Gamer, AVGN, Space Hamster, Catacarus, a bit of Gerard the Completionist in there. Those are my inspirations, I feel like. They are definitely the most influential, especially when it comes to humor and actual reviewing in so many different aspects. Anything you'd like to pick up in the future as a skill to learn? In general, you say. You know, that's the thing. I actually was talking about this earlier with some friends. I would love to learn to play the bass. No, I'm not going to just play the bass to do the Seinfeld theme, but it'd be cool to actually play the bass and just, learn a few riffs or something. That'd be really fucking cool. That's a great skill I want to do. If there was one change you can make to your content, what would it be? What, other than actually make it good? I'm kidding, mostly. But one change, I guess I would say I try to clarify some points. I have this problem, unfortunately, if you notice with the amount of titles that I use at certain points, that I always, I think of ways to describe things after I already do it. But, so, if I could find a way to, change the script a little bit, so that way I could basically get every point, and that's just me and my stupid brain. I think of things after I do it. If I could find a way to get every point even more clarified, just so that way I can be the most honest reviewer that I can, because titles can be missed sometimes, I absolutely would. With that being said, though, that also ties into the point that if I could do it better, it's never going to happen, but I absolutely would. Maybe some shorter videos. I don't mean to make them on purpose, so long, but they're also in-depth. Maybe try to make them a little shorter, maybe try to find a way to condense it at, a half an hour, at least, nothing lower. But at the same time, that also means I would sacrifice probably my in-depth fair review part. So, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. The length I'm a bit questionable on, but in regards to script writing, I definitely would, change that process so that way I can think of points before I even, finish the entire thing. Because again, I want to make sure I get everything right. Maybe even maybe that's another thing. The note-taking. I'm gonna be honest, I take some good notes when it comes to, reviewing games, but I don't always describe everything in detail. So maybe if I change the notes that I take before I actually write the script, maybe I can cut down the amount of titles that I use and make the points more. Make the points clearer, you know what I mean? So maybe the note-taking, the script writing, and maybe the length, but I also don't want to sacrifice what makes me me, so the length is a questionable one. I hope that's a good answer, at least. What is your favorite part of the process when it comes to the recipe of content creation? Ooh, this is a good one. So, I would say the editing, but in all honesty, I would say probably the script writing itself. I would say the script writing, because this is the process where, I basically imagine it in my head. What is this review I feel like gonna look like? What can I say about this game? What jokes do I want to implement? Because then at that point, whatever I do in the script, and then makes it easier for me to film, and in process makes it easier to edit. I love the script writing. I love writing in general. So in general, script writing is my favorite part of the process, just because I get to flex more of that writing muscle that I feel like I've been blocked by for so many years. And that's another part of the game to mention. It helps me with my writer's block slowly but surely. So I'd say the script writing, just because A, helps with writer's block, and B, I can imagine the review in my head and then put it right down. And it's the easiest part, I feel like. I feel like without even thinking, I sit there and in half an hour, I've already written maybe 5 pages. So it's probably my favorite part of the process, just because of how creative I can get before I actually film the final product, What is your favorite item in your studio? Okay, so I'm gonna put a picture up here during the final product on YouTube, and I'll put a picture, I think I put a picture of it in Discord, but I'll do it again in the Q&A at some point maybe, but I got a poster from Benson of Psychonauts 2, which I'm gonna put up in the studio with the others, and it's really fucking awesome. But not just that, I'd also say my favorite item in my studio is the picture of Midori that Ella got me for a thank you gift for being part of her charity. That and the note that she wrote me. I gotta get a picture frame for it, but the picture of Midori and her note, whenever I'm struggling, I can always look back and just smile and just realize, yeah, I got people backing me up, And also, too, the Psychonauts 2 poster is just really fucking trippy, really gorgeous and awesome. So those are my 2 favorite items in the entire studio, hands down. What have you learned from watching the content of others? Okay, this is a really good question, too. So, what I basically feel like I've learned, a couple things. Number 1, just because you're doing something that's trending doesn't always mean it's selling out. Obviously, when you review a game that's trending or take part of a sponsorship that's trending, a lot of people do it just to get more viewership and everything. Think of it like the statistics side of it all, which is it's just really shitty, and I feel like it doesn't make you genuine, but that doesn't always matter, I feel like I feel like there are people that do games that just released genuinely. Like, they're not just hopping on a trend to get more views or state a controversial opinion just to get more views. They're actually genuine about it. And which is something I feel like I fell into the trap of, like, admittedly thinking about all the time when I saw things trending on YouTube before I did content, is that I get it now, you know? You do have to do trends. I'm not going to do it, but at the same time, if there's something that I genuinely enjoy and it's trending, that's a double win for me, you know? That's what I did with Skatebird and a couple of other games. But I've learned that trending videos, making videos on stuff that's trending isn't always selling out. There are genuine people that will make genuine videos, not because they're selling out, but because they genuinely want to enjoy making the content and challenging themselves with it, which is really awesome. Among Us VR? No, I'm not doing a video on Among Us VR. No. There's that. Second of all, when it comes to, like, the quality and quantity debate, I understand where people are coming from when it comes to, like, quantity, especially online. People want quantity more than quality, but I disagree. I feel like I've learned from watching other people content. When it comes to quantity, I really do feel like Completionist, for example. He does phenomenal videos, but I say they're better than the older ones, not in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, he's got a team now and all this other shit. So it's great that he has a team, but I feel like handing so much of the process off to too many people just to get quantity out over quality doesn't exactly mean a good thing on the internet. And I feel like people pride themselves in quantity way more than quality on the internet, which is a bad trend I feel like I've been learning watching other people's content. You've got people like Ms. Bubbles and Lamhoot that do things like a video every twice a week, or a video every month in the case of Lamhoot, that do things right. They don't do a video every other 2 days. They have quality content and fair reviews and good essays that, in part, are the reason I do my long reviews. I want to make content that I'm proud of. I don't want to just churn shit out. Which is why that, even though I came into, like, content creation with New School Arcade and the Game Grumps especially, that quantity is how you get good on the internet, that's not the case. That's absolutely not. And that's just literally everything in general. Do not sacrifice quality in the name of quantity. Okay, May asks, Space Explorer or Pirate? I don't know, I'm thinking Pirates. I'm kidding. I really do enjoy Space Explorers a lot more. Really good. And if they can even combine them so that way it's like a space pirate, that's a double bonus. I used to love the Golden Age of Piracy. I still love the Golden Age of Piracy, honestly. But I genuinely, absolutely love Space Explorers. Piracy, you can be like, oh, cool, we're in the Caribbean, or cool, we're over here on the west coast of America. Yo ho ho, and a bottle of fucking scurvy, you know? But when it comes to being a Space Explorer, it takes what you feel as a pirate when you find treasure and amplifies it times 10. What pirates feel to treasure is what Space Explorers feel to planets and galaxies and new species. I love Space Explorer personalities a lot more than Pirates 2, hence Guardians of the Galaxy, even though I love Assassin's Creed Black Flag. But I would say Space Explorers. Space Explorers for sure. MK asks, how are you so sexy? I'm getting a lot of these questions, and I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know why y'all think I'm attractive, but I'm not. Basically, MK, to answer your question just like last time, existential crisis, scream in the mirror in the morning, works every time. Why are you more sexy than Washo asks? I'm not, but you know, that's a good opinion with a bad take. MK's questions now are also, how do you feel about Freya? I fucking love that cat with my whole heart. That is my daughter, and I love her to death. Amazing, amazing being. We are not worthy of Freya's presence, okay? Freya is the queen of the universe. How do you feel about the friends and community you've built? What's it like to have the best friends of all time? I mean, I'm chatting with you guys now, right? I'd say I'm winning. Like, even though I feel like I'm never gonna win at life, at least I win at this part. At least I have amazing friends like you, and Dulce, and Sho, and MK, and not your MK, and May, and so many people. And I'm so glad that I met so many of you guys, and the community that we've built in such a short time. I am so fucking proud of meeting every single one of you and how we are all together like this. I'm so proud to know Ryoko and Ella and so many people. Really, there's too many people that I have met through YouTube and Twitch that are more of my best friends than when I had in middle school and high school. It feels good, just to put it shortly, I should say. And this goes hand in hand with your question earlier, show. If you could make a question with no constraints as to how far you can take it, what would you make? What would the goal of the game be? Okay, Brian, you were here before the community. You're an OG. Don't say ow. Don't say ow. You're my best homie, bro. You've been here before the community, okay? God. But this goes hand in hand with your question, show. So, okay. I'm into the gray matter of morality. I'm not into, like, the black and white of morality, like good or bad. And I love space. I love fantasy. I would either make a huge fantasy world or a huge space adventure world. Like, not even just like, oh, here's a giant plot of land or here's a single galaxy. I want to explore multiple places. I want to explore an entire motherfucking world. I don't want just the lore of like, oh, these guys came from a separate land. These guys are pirates. I want to go to that motherfucking homeworld. I want to do some side quests there. I want to be involved in those politics. I want the players to be involved in every aspect of every part of the lore. And I want there to be consequences and rewards for everything that they do. So if you sail to that pirate's homeworld and you all of a sudden just go out and you start causing shit or you break up the political party and political chaos, that's going to come back to haunt you. So if you go back home and they come back to bring war, I want the world to be affected. I want there to be a consistent update to everything that you fucking do. I feel like games that do role-playing do it to an extent because, unfortunately, you can't do role-playing 100%. There are technological difficulties and constraints that you have. But if I had no constraints, I want there to be a good, a bad, a somewhere in between. I want there to be so many gray moral choices and rewards that you will have infinite amounts of playtime. And I want this to be a long game. I don't want this to be a 20-hour game. I want people to spend on one playthrough 60 hours. I want this to be a giant RPG immersive experience. Probably action-adventure RPG more I think about it. But whether you explore space and just fly through space and land on different planets and shoot up people in like space through like wars against fleets, or you're out in a fantasy world fighting dragons or some other mythical creature, I want to build an entire world that you can interact with from the get-go and is a 60-hour playthrough right away. And multiple playthroughs, you'll be spending thousands of hours in it. I want you to actually come back to this game and get more than $60 worth. I want this to be a golden experience. I want my story to have different branching personalities in different places. I want your character to go through so many different phases. I want that one character that you meet and you think you love to go through so much shit in different playthroughs that you don't know how you feel at the end, and you get different phases of life. Because I feel like video games and movies, for that matter, don't get to capture that. There's so many different faces of people and personalities, and so many different things. People are complex, no matter what the memes say. There are so many interesting things that you can look at a different person. Like for me, for example, you can look at different parts of me in a game and like get like the good side, or the frustrated side, or the side that's like deals with mental health all the time. I want you to experience every part of a person as I write it to a T. I want there to be magic. I want there to be different types of gravity beams in regards to space. I want you to manipulate the environment to your heart's content. I want you to not just have consequences for characters, but consequences for messing with the environment and different creatures and fauna and land life. I want there to be so many consequences and so much immersive combat. I want there to be grand battle armies at one point. I want there to be grand battles against giant 60-foot giants, for example, or giant space gods. I want you to question everything and everyone and make your decisions and come back every single time with something new. I want there to be a world beautiful and waiting out there, not just a world, quote unquote, which is just a land and that's it, and like with a few pieces of lore explaining everything else. I want there to be a genuine world that you can sail across or fly across the stars and just experience everything as if you were living real life. I want you to basically go through this game as if real life. I want you to grow with this game. That's my ideal video game. Oh wait, we got some last second questions on this one. Oh god, you guys are late, but okay. But I mean E, you know? E though, am I right? Oh, E indeed. Also, what's your favorite flavor? For ice cream? Chocolate. Absolutely. Really late question. What's the 9th best game you've ever played? Jesus Christ. You gonna make me think? Oh no. 9th best, eh? Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is one of my 9th favorite games to play. So now that we got all that set, let's go to Twitter. Let's see what you guys said there. Let me pull it up. There were like 2 different posts. Sorry, this is going to take me a second. Wait, I didn't mean to follow that person. Oh, God. Okay, never mind. Okay. Where is it? Hold on. I should have absolutely saved these, I know, but... Okay, here we go. Here are some questions. So, Miss Bubbles, person I mentioned earlier, really awesome person, she asks, what are you thankful for this year? I would say I'm thankful that I stuck with content. I mean, I could say I'm thankful for my family and all this stuff. Like, I am so fucking thankful that I stuck with content. With everything that was going on, with so many questions in my life, and so much other shit going on, I'm so thankful that I stuck with content and never gave up. I never gave in to my crisis with mental health. I am just so thankful that I'm still here doing this and entertaining and meeting so many of you every day that I'm online. And it is a gift that I am always going to be thankful for. So I would say making content, just because, again, it leads into other things that I'm thankful for, because I get to meet friends that I'm thankful for and make family that I'm thankful for, this community, for example. So I would say content is a snowballing thankful thing that I love. Camstar, who is actually a long supporter of this channel and is great, they are asking, what are you looking forward to next year, 2022? I am looking forward to basically upping my game with content, helping other people up their games, basically co-working with so many people and upping each other's games hand in hand. And I'm also looking forward to being either extremely hyped for Pokemon Legends Arceus or extremely disappointed. And I'm excited for gaming in general next year. What felt like, even though this year felt like it was amazing, it definitely could have skyrocketed with so many games that got pushed back because of the pandemic. But now this seems like it's going to be even better than 2021. And for me, that is already saying something, considering 2021 is one of my favorite years in gaming. So I would say all of those I'm excited for. Alright, give me a second. There was another post I had to do. What's that? What did it do, Matt? What up, man? What's up, broski? How you doing? We're just finishing. I think this is the last question, actually. Pretty sure this is the last question. Yes, this is. So our final questions come from Row Reviews, the man himself, Sicko Mode, Weezer man himself. Row Reviews asks, have you always gone into reviews with the intention of making them long, or does that happen naturally? Okay, to give you an idea of how this is, I went into the idea of Paper Mario the Origami King thinking it was going to be a short review. Look how that turned out. Have a good one. See you, Reaper. Stay frosty, buddy. Look how that turned out. Paper Mario turned into my longest review of all time. And the thing is, I don't double space any of these scripts at all. They're all single space, and they end up being like 20-page scripts at times. And they're all around the same length, but somehow they're always longer one way or another. I have never intentionally meant for them to be long, but at the same time, now that I'm getting more into it, I kind of realize that if I want to be fair 100% and give very long, in-depth reviews, I have to go long. I have to go long reviews. And if I can help it, I'll try to make it shorter. It's just how it is, but I've never purposely gone into a video saying, I'm going to make this 2 hours long, and you're going to fucking like it. Not yet, at least. Oh, what's your question, Lena? Feel free to ask. Go ahead. Feel free to ask. What's your small question? I'm going to answer these last 2, and then we'll get it set. Favorite and least favorite video you've made? My favorite video, as mentioned earlier, it's because of the process and working with Connor on my first ever collaboration, and just it being a fun time in general. I would say my favorite video is the Christmas special with Connor. Second favorite video, very close behind, is the 1-year anniversary. As for my least favorite, I want to say, honestly, it was probably Mail Mole, just because that drone was a pain in the ass, and literally, all of the voiceovers went well, but Mail Mole itself, like the opening sequence, took maybe 2 days to get that opening sequence filmed, because the drone wasn't working, and then we had to figure out the drone, and then we have to, like, fucking figure out so much other shit with it. So I would say Mail Mole was my least favorite to film, just because of that opening sequence. I wouldn't say any of these were, like, completely bad to film or make, per se, but I would say my least favorite was Mail Mole, just because of that opening sequence and drone. Favorite part of making a video? I said it earlier, so script writing. Script writing is my favorite. And let me see if Lena answered did her question. Lena asks, do you have any idea how much we love you? I don't actually know, but I'm guessing it's a lot. And I love you guys way more. Way, way more, honestly. And I cannot thank you guys enough for everything. No, not the shout out. Not the shout out. A lot, he says. It is a lot. Oh God. Oh no, don't do this. This is a wrap up. I'm not supposed to be crying during a wrap up. No. You're great, Benson. Thanks, buddy. Oh man. Also, Reaper, he left. I didn't get to answer his question. I just saw it. Oh, Reaper asked if they wanted to. Reaper, when you watch this, come here. You get a hug. You all get a hug, actually. Get over here for this homie kiss. You're in quarantine. I can't. You are correct. We love you a lot, Benson. Really a lot. Dulce, Lena, Sho, Ryoko, Cheeseworm. Oh my God. Also, can I ask a question? A Q&A one. Not a Q&A one. What's your question? What's your question, buddy? By all means, from the moon and back. Oh, Salmon. I love you guys so much. You guys are the best. More than you'll ever know. No, I love you guys a lot more. Stop it. Stop it. After, get over here for this homie kid. It's a date. It's a date, buddy. It's a date. Did you listen to any of the albums I recommended to you? I've listened. I gotta talk to you a little bit because I did listen to a little bit of them. I haven't listened to them completely, but I've listened to a little bit. I gotta go through the entire list though and do like a checklist. And if so, what do you think? I think I gotta re-listen to them because I listened to them before Christmas. But once I re-listen to them, because it's been a while, I listened to them like beginning of December. After I give a little re-listen, I'm definitely going to be giving you more concrete stuff. But for an answer so far, they were pretty solid. Really good music, in my opinion. But with that said, I think that's the end of this Q&A. That's the end of this wrap-up in general. 3 hours long. Wow, this was a long Q&A. So much to go over. Honestly, this is a bigger year than the Game Dimension in 2020. Not even just that. We had a bigger year for the Game Dimension. We had a bigger year for streaming in general. A lot happened. A lot of Game of the Years. A lot of you guys came over to ask some questions, and I am eternally grateful for the friends and the community that I have made along the way of this fantastic starting journey of content. So, just like last year, I want to go over... I know there's going to be people I forget right out the gates, but I gotta thank some people. Thank you to Sho, Cheeseworm, Muiji, Shroob, George, Lena, Cake, Ella, Dulce, again, MK, Scram, Alan, Nick, my wife, Z, Ash, Aya. I'm sorry, my voice just cracked a little bit. Ro, Rye, Ameben, fucking Pack Jeff. So many people. There's just so many people I need to thank. Really, thank you everyone for making 2021 and my content as a whole an absolutely magical and phenomenal year. And again, I'm not the most consistent. Until this May as well. I also don't want to forget May since they're here. I will never forget May. I'm literally trying not to cry. My mind is a blur right now. I'm not going to front with y'all. So many of you to thank. And I don't think I can thank any of you enough. But if you're watching this, whether it's on Twitch or, YouTube, thank you for helping me be a better me and helping me continue my pursuit of being a dumb content creator that you guys enjoy no matter where you are. I really am grateful for it, but there's so many people to thank. I don't know what to say. And thank you for making 21 so phenomenal. Again, I know I'm not going to be the most consistent. Until this becomes my mainstay, if ever, consistency is always going to be a problem. But you know what? It's okay, because you guys have proven that no matter what, Twitch and YouTube are always going to be my home, because I absolutely have met some wonderful people with you guys. Really. TJ, everybody, thank you so much for being you. Sarah, if you're watching this, I know with time zones it's hard, but Ish, Belial, thank you so much. Thank you for making this community and making me what we are today, and for making 2021 so fucking magical. I appreciate every single one of you, even if I didn't get to name you, because my mind is like a blur. Right, I'm trying to name everybody while trying not to get emotional. This is always the hardest part, is showing how thankful I am for all of you, every single one of you. Thank you for showing up, And what a wonderful year we had. It was a shitty year all around, let's not lie to ourselves. But at least with 2021, you guys made it better. And we all made it better together being here. To all my friends, Brian, Sho, Nick, Connor, everyone from real life, and to all the wonderful people that, hey, I just want to say as you wrap up here, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? No Benson crying stream. Also, hi, Rye. But, again, for all my real life friends, for all the friends I made online, and just my family in general, in every single one of you, I want to thank you guys for being here and for making me who I am today. I've been here for the last 20 minutes. Want to thank you for the shout out. Rye, you are an amazing guy, and I'm glad to have gotten to know you. Again, we're not like the closest of friends like you and Fuse, but I'm glad to know you, buddy. And it's always an honor to watch your content and see you around, you know? Make sure to tell Fuse that you're yicking out after the stream. I absolutely will. But thank you guys so much for making me confident in myself when I'm not. Thank you so much for being here for the content and giving me the support that I need. And thank you for being the best family that I could ever ask for. 2022 is going to be amazing. And with that said, I'm going to finish up. I will be back to making content and streaming after New Year's. I'm still in the middle of my 2-week quote-unquote vacation. This VOD is just sort of something that I can get out. Since you're watching this Twitch, and we're filming it on the 30th, I hope you guys have a wonderful and safe, happy New Year. If you're watching this on YouTube after I post it after New Year's, I hope you had a wonderful New Year, and welcome to 2022. Welcome not just to 2022 in general, but welcome to 2022 for the Game Dimension, 2022 for New School Arcade, 2022 for Shogun Island Leader's YouTube channel, 2022 in general for the Neverland Reader, and 2022 for the Stream Dimension, and 2022 for me. Same Benson as always, different year, but better content than the last, hopefully. And until next time, though, when I see you guys after my New Year's vacation from content, we're coming out swinging. And I'm so ready to work with every single one of you and be here every step of the way. Really, thank you for everything that you do. Now, of course, since this is on Twitch, we're going to talk for another minute or so while I figure out a raid target. But for you on YouTube, this is where it ends. Thank you so much for watching as always, no matter where you are. Let me know what you guys thought of the wrap-up in the comments down below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like what you saw. If you're on Twitch, you just fucking like it anyway since you're here, I guess. There's no like button for Twitch. And feel free to join my Discord server if you haven't already with the link in the description. Please stay safe. Enjoy your time for the holidays with what you have left. Thank you guys so much for a wonderful year. And I cannot wait to come back and enjoy what 2022 has to bring, not just for the Game Dimension team or the Stream Dimension team, but this community in general. You thought it was great now, we're going up from here. And that's a promise you can bet on. And I've never been more certain of that in my life. Until next time, though, my fellow YouTube friends, this is Benson. Oh, excuse me. That was horrible. We're doing that again. You're not done yet. Until next time, this is Benson from the Game Dimension, signing off. Have a good day, guys.